cash is not king anymore. No one wants to hold cash. It's exactly what we were talking about before. If you sell it, you have all this cash. What are you going to do with the cash? Who the heck wants cash right now, right? Warren Buffett's sitting on a ton because he's waiting for the bear and he wants to buy up a shit ton of stuff. But like the average person, it's like, what am I going to do with all this cash? I already have some cash. I need assets. I need something that is worth more than these dollars.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the 4Media Uncut podcast. Today, we have another returning guest, one that has been highly, highly requested. I've actually had multiple DMs about bringing this guest back, Mr. George Yu.
That's right, Mr. George Yu, the real estate legend himself. It's pretty cool because this time we brought him back. We talked a little bit about real estate, but we got into the world economy. What is happening right now? Who is going to be the world power? What kind of things are happening economically between countries? Is there wars happening? How is that going to affect us? And it's really cool to see the perspective of someone who goes to China a lot, who has very deep connections there, and is also very well-rooted in America and very cultured overall in different countries. And to see that kind of perspective from someone so smart, I think really brings light to certain decisions that need to be made personally for yourselves over the next couple of years to kind of, fight those things off. So super excited to have you guys listen to this podcast. You're going to get major value out of this. Just take a little bit of action on the things that we talked about today because I think it's going to be major value for you guys.
Enjoy. Okay, so we're good to go.
Did anyone re-listen to the end of the last episode before we get to go?
I did not.
Nate?
Did you re-listen to the end of the last episode?
Jesus,
It's
Nate,
okay, it's okay.
Bro, no, it's not. I gave it to him to do. I said, do this. Make sure you do this. Nate! You could have listened on the drive here, Nate.
Oh, Nate. It's okay. It's okay, Nate. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Okay, so last time was 6 months ago. Okay, so should we
been
just start?
6 months?
Yeah.
It's
Oh
been
my
6 months.
Bro,
It's wild.
And now Eddie's a daddy. God.
Wild. Here, should we?
6 months ago.
Like, did I even have a child in the oven last time? I don't think so.
You were preheating the oven.
I was preheating the ovens.
The oven, I think, had just reached its preheat time, but the timer had dinged, but you hadn't,
I got you.
That's crazy. 6 months. A lot's happened in 6 months.
So do I need to stop making my mic look like it's a dildo?
You can kind of do that. Yeah.
All right, I'm not podcasting professionals. I'm thinking I'm getting rammed in the mouth.
I mean, both way. The mic's at the top at the end, so
Yeah. Yeah.
you are
good.
being effective.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, cool.
Exactly.
Cool. I'm infatuated
This is George
with
on half a solo cup of IPA.
I don't know what y'all drinking, but I'm drinking something else.
Whoa.
Just kidding. I'm drinking love, happiness.
He's sipping on lean.
So what's happened in the last 6 months? Because now, last time you didn't take funding from anyone. Well, real quick summary. What do you do, just in case someone hasn't heard it?
All right.
Give me 2 sentences. Okay, 2 paragraphs.
Okay. My name is George. I'm a entrepreneur of sorts. I am specializing in multifamily real estate development and construction.
But differently than other people.
Differently. We do everything I do is based off of need. We're trying to solve problems here based on need. And the apartments we build, we only build for ourselves. We don't build for anyone else. And we include all the utilities
What do
in
you
it.
mean you don't build for anyone else? You can't live in 400 apartments.
Well, what I mean is I have a development company, and then in the last year and a half, we started a construction company as well because we couldn't find contractors who would give us good pricing to build our products at the price, quality, attention that we need it to be. So we started a construction arm of our company. So now we're the developer and the contractor, the general contractor, and we only build for ourselves, like our company. We don't if you wanted to build an apartment complex and said, "Hey George, would you help me build?" We would say no because we don't have time to build anyone else's. We have way too much stuff for us to do.
I get it.
Tesla doesn't build cars for anyone else; they just build it for them. So sort of like that. So, yep. And we include all utilities. We're in the bundling, the lifestyle bundling category of what we talked about last time, which is basically, I think in the future, and we're already starting to see it now, life is going to get way tougher. All right. 20 years ago, life was way easier than it is today. 20 years from now, it's going to be way harder than it is now. So the best time to get started, best time to get grinding and sowing your seeds in the ground is yesterday. Next best time is today. And I just we're preparing for a world that is going to be a very tough world to live in. We have a lot of different factors.
How long do you think that's going to go for, though?
What
like
is-
at some point, you know what I mean? At some point, we're down here, and then it's a great.
Do you think there's
easy
just like
world to live in again.
there's just an equalization kind of happening where like right now there's a lot of people that are very well off. Like, you know, here in the United States, a lot of people are very well off, but like you go to like a third world country and they're extremely not well off. Are we like almost kind of seeing like an equalization, like where those people are coming up and we're just kind of coming down?
Yeah, there are a lot of emerging markets. You know, we are a declining nation or empire of sorts. Typical.
Wait. Before, what the fuck do? You got to finish that.
Oh,
part.
yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
I do real estate.
I derailed us.
I do real estate.
Real quick,
we do
you went
multifamily
right to
housing.
Mars. You're like, all right, here we go.
We do multifamily housing. All right. So I started off doing real estate right after college. And the reason I did that was for passive income. I wanted to be free. I didn't need $1 billion or even $1 million. I just needed cash flow so that I could have time to take care of the money. And then the rest of my life, I could figure out whatever the hell I needed to figure out. I didn't need to have everything figured out, but 9 out of 10 people that I ever saw in my life growing up was moving throughout life for money. So I wanted passive income. I got into real estate. Right after college, I also imported products overseas from China, Alibaba, and also manufactures overseas products. And I sold them on Amazon, eBay, Craigslist, everything. And so in the last 5 years, I've transitioned away from product development and manufacturing as 90% of what I do. And now what I do is 90% real estate of sorts. So I do development, multifamily development, where we build multifamily apartments all over Georgia, Alabama, sort of the Southeast. That's one company. Another company that I have is a single family acquisitions company that basically just has been buying up single family properties here in the Atlanta area over the last 3.5, 4 years. That's a separate company. And then now I have a real estate. Oh, actually, there's 2 more. Now I have a real estate company that purchases
all
property.
Since we last talked.
Property that purchases property overseas in emerging markets. We purchased a property in Mexico. We're raising a fund right now where we're going to acquire a whole complex of 10 villas and rent them out strictly for Airbnb in Tulum, Mexico. So I'm really bullish on Mexico. I've also started a corporation in Nicaragua, working at getting one right now in Argentina.
For what in all these countries? Real estate?
Real estate, basically, just to acquire property and also use that as a way to get a secondary citizenship and a passport. And
But like, why those countries? Like, why would you want secondary citizenships in
it's
those
cheap
countries?
right now. Nicaragua's super cheap. It's a neighboring country to Costa Rica. A lot of people know about Costa Rica. Not a lot of people know about Nicaragua. A lot of the hippies go there and to kind of get away from the prices of Costa Rica. Like if you go from the U.S. to Costa Rica, it's basically the same price, right? If not a little bit more. I mean, but in Nicaragua, I mean, you literally cross the border and it's like 5 times as cheap. And I would say equally as beautiful. I went to an island, Ometepe, and amazing. It's literally the largest lake in Nicaragua, or maybe even Central America. But basically when the conquistadors came across it, they thought it was an ocean, but they called it Sweetwater because it wasn't salty. And the Mayans actually occupied it at that time. And it was basically it's a lake, it's huge. And in the middle of the lake are 2 active, well, it used to be 2 active volcanoes, but there's 2 volcanoes there. One's active right now, one's not, and it's beautiful. So you have to take a ferry from the shore to the island, and it's just amazing. It has its own ecosystem there. They say it's protected itself from like global warming and climate change because it has its own like sort of climate there that's humid all year round, doesn't get above like 72. It's paradise. I don't want to talk too much about it. I don't want people to go there. But
but you do.
But
actually.
I do.
Yeah, actually do want people to go there.
Yeah. So San Juan del Sur.
But they'll figure it out.
San Juan del Sur is also a really nice spot. It's more of like the Playa del Carmen, Mexico, but the Nicaragua version. It's a beach town. A lot of surfing, scuba diving, things like that.
Nice.
That's also nice.
You know what you made me think of is like, holy fuck, how did they do it back then when in regards to like dividing land? Like the Mayans occupied this giant lake you couldn't see the other end of. Think about it. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
so big they thought it was an ocean. And the Mayans occupied it. Like those guys just show up. They're like, oh, I guess no one lives here. You know what I mean? And those guys are like, wait, that's my backyard. Like, I'm going to go kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No communication in between. Just like,
No.
you're trying to invade my land. This other person's like, oh, good thing no one lives here. You know, now it's
Literally.
all like drawn by the line. It's crazy.
So getting
It's
back
weird.
to the thing, so the last thing is I have a real estate company that purchases now properties overseas because I'm bullish in other parts of the world besides America. America's now starting to get too expensive. And the last company that I have is a shipping container house company, and we build. It goes back to my product development in China, but we're building shipping container houses overseas in China, and the goal for that is to be able to ship housing from a centralized source all over the world, because China already ships to every country in the world in terms of air freight, ocean freight. And I thought a stab at a different kind of context of what I'm doing with multifamily apartments where we're building on site. I thought another product that we need to solve the affordability crisis that we have is also being able to build a product mass produced in a warehouse that can be shipped. Like, there's a reason why there's no shortages of iPhones, Toyota Camrys, Red Bulls, things like that. But why is there a shortage of housing? Well, the first three are made in a factory, mass produced by robots, things like that, put together. The latter is, imagine if you bought an iPhone from Apple and Apple sent you all the parts in a box to your house and told you to assemble it. That's basically where the real estate industry has been in the last hundreds of years, right, since its existence. Basically, you build from site. And although it's done well, we've maximized the best we could do from it. I don't think at the end of the day, that's all that's necessary. That's one solution, but we need a plethora of solutions. And so that container house company is also a company that will try and help that need too. So
That's some Elon Musk shit right there.
I love it.
Elon Musk is my idol. I would be thankful just to be 1% of him. So
1%?
I would be happy with 1%.
You don't think you're 1% of him already, bro? Come on. 1%.
I think you're at least a couple percent.
Thank you.
No, George has got it. He's got to be like 10%.
How old are you, George?
31.
Damn. And Elon Musk is what, like late 40s?
I don't know.
You've got some time, is what I'm
I'll
trying to say.
I think he's in his maybe 50s.
Elon's
Not
done
sure.
a lot in his years, you know.
He's not young for sure. He started Zip2 or X2 and
50.
50.
He's 50 exactly.
50
Wow.
exactly?
Yeah,
Yep.
Jeff is
Okay.
58.
Bezos.
That old bald
and
person.
Bill is 66.
Mm.
Wow.
And Warren Buffett, holy fuck. You guys know how old Warren
He's
Buffett
like
is?
at least 80, right?
91.
No
Whoa!
way.
I would have guessed like
What?
85 at the most.
He better be the
Damn.
richest guy. Like,
Dude,
what's
you know
going
what's
on?
crazy is that, like, you look at these old successful people, they just don't die. They just keep going. Like these old hustlers, like Warren Buffett, man, he just like, he doesn't care about the money. He just goes to work. He's like, he eats his McDonald's in the morning,
You're so
drinks his
right.
Dr. Pepper, and he just never dies because he's just out there doing what he loves. And that's the goal. Just
He's bullish on life.
exactly. He has to wake up every day and make that extra whatever. So
So where are you
Success
guys
of
going
the
with the
game.
world power thing? You're saying there's going to be an affordability crisis?
Yeah.
well, let's rewind for a little bit, kind of give people some context. But yeah, so throughout my travels, throughout my life, I've seen the world as a very weird place. Like, you know, society, our parents, teachers, they tell us one way. But if you really go out and try to implement those processes, like most of the times, you don't get everything that you thought you were going to get from it. And in more than one way or another. So one example is financial, like going to college, getting an education, right? They're telling you, okay, well, you know, go work for 40, 50 years of your life, retire the last 20 with stack your 401k in the meantime and hope to retire by 65. And then at that point, if you're not too old and you can't move around, then go and enjoy your life and travel the world. And then you'll be happy. And that may have been the case that did well for people in the last XYZ years of their lives when pensions were still around and things like that. But more so today, it's not the case. And in college, I actually didn't finish my last year in school. Like I was there for pre-pharmacy and I dropped out because I couldn't sit through a 30-minute class without falling asleep. But I could stay awake for 3 days and playing Halo and Call of Duty and like with one hot pocket and going to the bathroom like once. So I know like being lazy wasn't, I knew I like wasn't lazy, but just something wasn't right. And at that time I didn't know, no one had really taught me to kind of self-think and like self-develop to kind of understand like what I was doing. But But yeah, so a lot of the people that when I left, a lot of people reached out and like, as my friends, they were like, hey, we were concerned, like we don't want to see you go down this route. And I was just like, I completely understand, but there's just something I just can't do it. Like something inside of me, just like I'm hitting a wall. And I didn't understand it until now, like fast forward 8-9 years later, those same people who are now doctors, lawyers, surgeons, pharmacists, dentists, and stuff like that. I've had a few people reach out and say, hey, like this is not what I actually thought it would be. This is not what I thought I signed up to do. And I didn't know that all these things were required of me. The most important would be the time freedom aspect. What makes us wealthy is what makes us happy and free is the freedom, the time freedom. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. I don't care if you make $1 billion and you have to work 80 hours a week and you don't get to do what you want to do. That's not true freedom. That's not true happiness for me. So I think a lot of people are starting to realize that. But they've bought into a system. They're tied deep into a system. They got student loans. They might have a kid. They might, they have a spouse. They have a job. They don't really see another way out. So, and that's the good side, right? That's the guy that actually a guy or girl that actually has the job. And so there's also a whole plethora of people out there that don't have those benefits. And, with our geopolitical system going on right now, with the way our government, cannot like do a balanced budget. I mean, it's hard to look down into the future of America and think to myself that we're going to be okay. And the problem is like I hated history growing up. And in the last like 6 to 8 months, maybe a year, I started looking more into history, just to kind of try to find more details. Cause my current like here and now future books didn't really explain it.
That's what Ray Dalio did too.
Yes. And that's how I found Ray Dalio too. So, I just basically went to Wikipedia and I looked up the list of empires. If you go to the list of empires, and the oldest one is the Sumerians from 4,500 years ago. And I think there is like 386 recorded. There's obviously more, but in recorded history, there's like 300 or so empires.
It's like the Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Since recorded history. And I took the averages. Basically, I just copied. It was an Excel sheet on Wikipedia. I just copied it, put it in Excel. I just took the average of like all the empires. I think there was like 280.
How long they lasted?
How long they on average lasted? Some lasted 5 years, some lasted 5,000. Like whatever dynasties and whatnot. And yeah, the average surprisingly was 290 years. And here in America today, we are at 246. So we're 4 years away from our 250th birthday as a country, and we are a democratic republic. And democracies tend to not last that long. And
but are those dynasties lasting that long as a dynasty? Like they were probably older, right? But they were nothing, and then they became a dynasty, and that's when they were probably tracked, right? Like America, its 280 years probably doesn't start till late 1800s as like a world power of some sort.
Well,
you know
from
what I mean?
1776, from
like those first 100
but
years.
Eddie's saying in the first from
They were
1776
they were
to
under
whatever, we weren't a
rule.
world superpower yet.
They were literally
Yeah.
under rule by other people.
true.
But
You know what I mean?
But
so
still.
is that considered part of the timeline?
Well,
Just shooting the shit here on the timeline.
yeah,
Yeah.
If you're looking in that specifics, I didn't, go that deep into it.
Yeah.
I just kind of took a brief like look
I
at
don't
the
think
numbers.
you did. I'm just saying I wonder how it's calculated.
So they calculated based upon like, the beginning. So either having a constitution written or some sort of organized power rule where there was no contest to the power.
This is when we came together.
Exactly. And so
when they
I've-
made it official somehow.
Yeah.
It's like when you're like a group of friends and you're like, we should start a fraternity. It was the date you signed the
yeah.
paper.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So you think America's coming to the end?
I don't think it's coming to an end. Well, it depends on what you mean by end, I guess. But I definitely think that the United States is a declining nation. I don't see hunger around. We're first generation Americans. And I just, seeing how hungry my parents were when they first came over here. I mean, literally my dad came over here with nothing. I mean,
Hunger to like work and
just
like
hunger to make
progress.
something.
Yeah.
They just knew that if they could get out of where they came from and just came to America, like they could make it.
yeah.
Every immigrant that comes here is just like, I don't care what I have to do. Like there's people in I think it's called the Durian Pass. It's basically to go from South America to Central America. You have to. It's the Darien Gap is what it's called. I'm sorry. And there's a Vice documentary about this, but basically, there's people that in order to get to the United States, what they do is they go to South America first. So they go to Colombia. Basically, they fly into Colombia, and then they do this no man's land trek of like 60 miles through like thick and thin jungle. Like hundreds of thousands of people die a year in this thing, and you have everyone from Middle Easterns, like Asian people, like people from all over, not just South Americans. Like people fly from all over the world just to get here, put on a backpack, and just like go through this thing. And during that Vice documentary, there was like a girl floating down the river that had passed away, like a baby girl. That was just, her parents had just, you just have to continue. And they were interviewing a lot of these people that going. People just know that if they get, like, how can you, as Americans, we're born into this. And so how can we really appreciate the fact that like people are willing to risk, this is the ultimate hell week for people. You know, when you go through pledging in fraternities or in the military, you have your hell week, right? Like this is the ultimate hell month or months for people. So you're telling me if this person actually makes it to America, you think an LLC is going to stop them? You think a police officer is going to stop them? You think anything is going to stop them when they've literally just risked their life to even step onto our soil? Nothing's going to stop this person. And so my parents thankfully didn't have to do that. At that point, they were still lax, you know, and reasonable immigration policies where people could get in and have a green card and then work towards citizenship. But we don't have that now. So people are just literally, what's crazy is that all these people are coming to America, and people in America think that we're in a pretty shit country in terms of like the life and like opportunity here, right? There's still a large group of Americans that don't think that America
like people that complain.
That complain. Yeah, that complain.
Yeah,
right? People don't realize how good we have it here, right? You can be broke here and still there's a safety net. You want to be broke in Mexico? I've seen broke people in Mexico. You don't want to be that, right? Mexico is only fun when you come with money and go to a resort, go to Tulum, have fun. But if you're broke with no money, you don't want to be in Mexico. All right. Like cartels will pimp you out to do something. Like it's just not cool. Governments don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like that.
You're insignificant.
You're insignificant at all. You get run over by a car. Okay. Whoops. In the ditch.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing like that.
Fuck.
So we have the best support system here. And so I just see a disconnect because there's not a lot of drive that I see coming out of America. When I used to go to China to do my product development manufacturing, this is just an example of where China has come in the last just 10 years. So I started doing manufacturing in 2012. And at that point, China was wholesaling products, let's say a Bluetooth speaker, and they would wholesale it to American companies. And then the American companies would then put that product on Amazon. So they would sell me a Bluetooth speaker for $10 from China. Their cost was probably $5 or whatever. And they'd sell it to me for 10 and I'd go on Amazon and sell it for 20.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's kind of how it went.
Yeah.
But now like China has like completely bypassed, like a lot of these companies, you see these Asian names for different products in whatever. Those are Chinese companies. They're completely bypassing the middleman, which is us, and going directly to them. So instead of going from $5 to $10, they're going from $5 to $20. It's basically what it is. And that's just one example of like just their hunger and just like drive to succeed. And when I was over there, they would work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 noon. They would take a 30-minute lunch, and then they would come back and sleep for about 45 minutes, like literally on the table, just like this. You know, just kind of passed out. And then they would work for another like 6 to 7 hours till like 6, 7 o'clock at night, you know? And so it was like 2 8-hour days essentially for them. And some people would even bring their cots to work, you know, right beside and it was nothing weird. I would come back and I was talking loud, like, and everybody was like, shh. I was like, whoa, what? And I looked around the office, it was like 50 people and everybody had their heads just like sleeping. And I'm like, why do you like,
in like a factory?
Part of it
like
was a
an
factory,
office?
part of it was a factory, and part of it was an office.
Wow.
So everyone was just like a siesta or something.
Like
They were just resting.
like a planned 45-minute nap for everybody. Wow.
After lunch.
Only working from 8 to 8 though. That's some weak ass shit.
Yeah, I know, right? Right. And they
For a nap,
and even then they
you
didn't think
know?
they were doing enough.
No, really though. 8 to 8's not like crazy hours if you think about it.
It is, but it's more than, if that's the norm, that's more than what you do.
It's what is expected.
like
right.
norm
No, I
here,
get it,
people are
but
like
in that
9 to
situation,
5.
If I worked 8 to 7 and I didn't take a nap or 8 to 6.
And by the way, like 7 days a week.
Oh, no weekend.
7 to weeks.
Okay, that's
7
a big.
days a week.
That's
Fuck.
that's a different situation.
And
Now the situation becomes heavier.
Yeah,
that's
for
why
real.
in China they take a month off for Chinese New Year's.
Yeah.
So everyone that comes to the cities from the suburbs, they go back home to their elderly parents and take care of them and spend a month with them. That's why nothing gets done during those months, like February and March, kind of that time. And so, I guess I'm saying all this to say, like,
We're some weak ass bitches here in America.
well,
we got what you're saying, George. We get it.
not necessarily. I just want people to realize
It's
that,
like easy times make weak men.
Mhm.
Weak men make hard times make hard men, or whatever the fuck it is.
absolutely.
Jeez,
Tough
bro.
men, not
Did
hard
you even
men.
say any of that right?
I said most of it right. I felt like,
okay.
but it's like that whole. It's that cycle. We're in the easy times make weak men phase.
I just, we're also very divided as a country, and while other countries are out there just grinding together, like in synchrony, in unity, with each other for one goal and one purpose, i.e. China, we're here arguing about like the genderbread man,
But that's like
a lot of
China.
other stuff.
That's China, though. Most other countries are kind of doing what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm specifically speaking on China. I
Okay.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like in my
Specifically.
opinion, I see my friends in other countries, and I've been to other countries, and like they're in the same situation. It's an age thing almost.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's like everyone in this 15 year of age is kind of similar across the world and in this mentality. Not everyone, but the majority of people in countries. Like my friends in Canada are the same. My friends in the UK are the same. My friends in Australia are the same. My friends in African countries are the same. Not all of them, but you look at that. My friends are different, obviously. Like I only am friends with people who I feel like are like go-getters. And if you're not, I really don't, I don't talk to you on a regular basis because you're not progressing fast enough in life,
Yeah.
But in general, outside of those close circles, I get a lot of the same complaining, I guess.
Yeah. I just want the country that I was born into to remain that way for a while. And I don't know if that's going to be the case because, in the last 80 years, we've experienced the most peaceful time in like a lot of human history, really. I mean, looking at the previous wars that we've had since the beginning of humankind, like we're actually a very violent species. We like wars have littered our history, slaughter, like for nothing. Human capital has and human life has never been as high as it is today. And, typically what happens when a declining nation intersects with a up and emerging nation or rising nation, there's going to be conflict because obviously the leader doesn't want to, give up power and the person coming up wants it. And so a lot of times, like majority of the times ends in violent conflict, but there are some times that it doesn't end in violent conflict. And I hope that's the case. But, it's, I think it's a question of like the way of life that we've known, especially in our generation, right? Like we've grown up in the best 30 years. I'm 30, like the best 30 years of American history. And I guess I'm just here to say that, we should not expect as a default that the next 30 years of humanity or human history in the United States is going to be the same, right? We do need to prepare for something that is perhaps a black swan, event for a lot of people. For me, it's not a black swan because for me, it's clear that it's going to happen. But for a lot of people, it's going to be a black swan event because nowhere in their minds, it's like when Donald Trump won the election. I mean, I literally saw people's faces of like, they just couldn't process. They didn't understand like what happened. Like nowhere in the realm of possibilities could someone like that have ever win, and I didn't care if Trump won or not. I just was looking at the micro.
But you knew it was possible, and these other people were like not even believing that it could be possible. They were
I
so
mean, it
shocked.
shattered people's like kind of perception, or just
and
of themselves.
And there was a lot of people that were kind of like, no, this was like very possible. Like I'm not surprised. Things are not going the way that you guys think it's going.
Yeah, and I don't think right or left, Democratic or Republican, is going to be able to solve these problems. I think it's a responsibility that's going to be burdened by every single one of us as citizens, because the last thing we could do in this period of time is trust our government to solve anything, especially when a lot of the reasons we're in these problems is because we because of the decisions of different.
So what happens when the U.S. is 30 trillion more in debt and it's time to call upon those debts?
You know, I'm not sure. I've looked into it. I haven't had a concrete answer in terms of that. Some people think that debt can just go on forever as long as it's revolving and money keeps moving. It's called the momentum of money and all XYZ things. Like I'm not that deep into it to speak like as an authority figure on that space. So I don't want to go down that route. But what I do know is that, you know, single family homes are out of people's reach right now for the average American. The average American used to bank their equity on purchasing a single family home. That's how an average family would build up their equity. But as a person graduating from college with $60,000 a month or $60,000 a year in income, like what kind of house can you buy with that? Like what can you get?
Especially with student loan debt.
Exactly.
Not right now.
Not right now. But where's
10
it getting
years
any
ago,
cheaper?
would've
And it's
nice.
only going more up right now.
How?
Like the rent situation is insane right now, I feel like.
There's just too much capital, right? So capital needs to be deployed. If you are sitting on $1 million and you're sitting on $1 million and I'm sitting on $1 million, we're going to get together and say, hey, like clearly Biden or Trump or all of them printed a shit ton of money. Like we need to like deploy this so that our money grows and not just sits in the bank and devalues over time. So you have all these people with a ton of money that are just basically with one job,
buying everything,
chasing yield.
Exactly.
Where can my dollar create another dollar? That's essentially.
Exactly, dude.
So you buy up property, you buy up stocks. Why do you think crypto's gone up? It's not because, I'm not just avowing like.
Yeah, it's supply.
It's
legit
not like it's become
projects out
this
there.
much percent more
Exactly.
valuable. It's because it's perceived like this is a place where I can put money and more people are willing to put their money as a store of value here.
Absolutely.
Therefore, it's making itself more
Cash is
valuable
not
to
king.
hold.
Exactly. Cash is not king anymore. No one wants to hold cash. It's exactly what we were talking about before. If you sell it, you have all this cash. What are you going to do with the cash? Who the heck wants cash right now? Right? Warren Buffett's sitting on a ton because he's waiting for the bear and he wants to buy up a shit ton of stuff. But like the average person, it's like, what am I going to do with all this cash? I already have some cash. Like I need assets. I need something that is worth more than these dollars because we're starting to see that shift between like 20, 30, 40 years ago, cash is king. Now not so much, right? Especially now what's been going on. So I think it's a combination of things, but I think we just need to ask ourselves like, have I seen patterns in my life or throughout history that I've noticed that like I've been told certain things one way and I've later found out in my life that it's been another way. And I think people need to become more self-aware. And I think that would help us become less polarized in our daily environment because for once, I mean, we can't talk to each other. There's no moderates, right? I would hesitate to say, but there are groups of people out here who hate each other and we are all Americans. We are all citizens of the United States. And that is one of Ray Dalio talks about it. That is one of the key factors that lead to a decline of an empire is the cohesion, the loss of cohesion, the loss of unity. It's when it's like that movie, Don't Look Up. It's like, there's a meteor coming. We can't even agree on that. There's a fact and both sides, regardless of political views or whatever views, they can't agree on one thing. And that's really dangerous. And so, I'm not that smart. I don't know how to solve that problem. And so what I've done is started to acquire backup plans, second residencies, properties elsewhere. And wow, come to find out, they're actually great investments. You know what I mean? Because guess what all Americans are doing? Going to Mexico. Because guess what? With 60 grand, you ain't shit here in the United States. But you take that 60 grand to Mexico, you're a fucking king. You know what I mean? You're a fucking king.
King, baby.
King, baby.
Yeah.
Take that shit to Thailand.
Unless you go to ex-Korea, then you're still a little bitch.
You're a little bitch in X-Korea.
Bitch, bro.
So
that place is the exception. That's like
Dude,
the
that
most
place is
expensive
sick.
place in
dude, that
America.
food. Oh my God.
Bro,
dude.
so worth
I'm
it.
still drooling.
Fuck.
For people listening, that's where Eddie had his wedding, and it was fucking awesome.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Dude, my parents gave me so much shit before
You
we
didn't
did
even
it.
eat, dude. All
What do you
weekend.
mean?
I mean, I never saw you eat. I kept
was
like bringing you
only
food.
Eating.
Oh, okay.
Tacos, like
I
what
saw
do you
Eddie
mean?
eating a burger at the pool. In the pool.
every hour. Yeah, on the
Dude,
hour.
remember that one time we were standing at the burger stand by the pool and the lady kept walking up to us and telling to put on
So
our
put the
masks? And there was literally like people 10 feet away sitting on like a tanning bed and they weren't wearing masks. And they're like, well, they're at the pool. You're not at the pool. And they were like 10 feet away from us. Like, it was so ridiculous.
COVID.
Yeah, it's a lot of division, you know, like.
So for someone making $60,000 a year.
Yeah.
Not blessed like George, you know? George buys up whatever house he wants. He points, he says,
Wasn't always like that.
Nicaragua, baby. Give me one of those. What's that country called? Pronounce it? Portugal? Oh, yeah. Give me something over there.
How do you spell that?
Can you get one on the lake? You know, get some water next to it. For people that can't do that, you know? What's an ideal path here? I know you kind of mentioned like working hard is the most important time now, et cetera. Like, what is there really?
That's a great question.
What's good advice?
I would first say it starts with your mindset. So if you don't have what you want, I think it's a good time to just self-reflect and question, like, and take responsibility really about why you don't have what you think you should have. Because it all starts there. If you blame it on external circumstances, you know, it'll never be your fault and you'll never have the catalyst to make some improvements to change. So if you just take massive responsibility about like where you are in your life, and if you're not where you want to be and you take responsibility for that, I think it's a very powerful thing. It's more than just money. It's more than just opportunity. It's like, it's a transformation within a person, a soul, and that person that you become will become so much that you will have way more than you need to help yourself. And eventually that'll spill over to the world. And I think that's what the world needs. We need more people that awake, that become awake and that can spread their unique gifts and talents with the world. Because Eddie, you have something that none of us in this room have. Andrew, you have something that none of us have. And I have a gift that none of you guys have. And we're all unique. And the success is on the table for every single one of us, but just in different ways. We're going to achieve it in a different way. You're probably not going to do real estate. You're not probably not going to do real estate. And I'm not going to do marketing. Right. But like, what makes you unique is what is something that I couldn't do, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So as long as we zone in on that and really understand that, like, that is our crux. God made, and I'm not speaking in religion, like the intelligent designer, the Matrix, whoever created us with a unique code that makes us unique. But society tells us to forego that code, to erase it and become like everyone else. The problem is when you become like everyone else, there's no value in that. And you've done a great job. You guys have done a great job at this, right? You, like, from what I've seen in your content, like, you guys are doing something that I've really not seen any other marketing company do. So really big props to you guys on that. So
Thanks, bro.
That.
Yeah. So, you know, I think that's key number one. So before all the money, before all that stuff will come, you know, the times in my life where I focused most on money, I never had a lot of it. Right. But if you start focusing on, like, how can I become a better person? How can I become a more open thinker? How can I become a more well-rounded person? How can I become a more well-networked person and a more liked person and a person that has its own free thought? Like, that's when the best things in my life personally have come to me. So I would say for that person with the average income in the United States of, let's say, $38,000, $40,000 US, not a lot, right? It depends on, it's relative, but to me, that's not enough to live on, right? That's enough to survive on. That's not enough to live on.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a good starting point, but no less than that.
Yeah. Rents are high. I mean, like, you know, even if you pay $1,000 a month on rent, you know, that's after taxes, you know, that's, you're saving $2,500. That's before your car, your insurance, your food, your kids. God forbid you have a kid and a wife at that time.
Oh, definitely with kids, that's not.
You're surviving.
You're surviving.
No, with kids you can't pay that.
Not thriving.
With kids you can't even survive on that.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Yeah. So my advice is just say, like I said, change your mindset. Question everything. Question everything you've been taught. Question the way you think. Question the way you are happy. Like, whenever you're happy, ask yourself, why am I happy? Whenever you're sad, be like, why is George sad? Be like, and if you feel offended, why is George feeling offended right now? Just question everything. Be like, kind of like in yoga, transcendental yoga, where they say, like, kind of had an out of body experience. Just like monitor yourself for 6 months to a year and just say, like, why do I feel these certain ways when these external circumstances come upon me, and get to know yourself better. And then the second thing to do is to listen to what other people say that you're really good at. A lot of times we don't really know what we're really good at, but a lot of people tend to tell us, like, so people used to tell me, like, hey, George, you're really good at public speaking. You're really good at convincing people to do things. You're really good at, like, leading. You're really good at XYZ things. And I would just blow it off. And then one of my mentors told me, like, hey, next time somebody tells you something and it happens multiple times from different people, like, pay attention, like, listen to that, because that's your key. That's your key soft skill that's going to set you apart from most other people. And you just got to hone in on it. Because once you discover your skill, that's just the first step. Your skill is still a baby. You have to nurture it. You have to grow it. You have to put dedicated effort to, like, making it better. So that's the first thing. And then in terms of like finances and stuff, like typically by that time you'll know what you want to do to really make it. So if you have $40,000-ish a year, I would save as much as possible. Get a roommate. I'm assuming this person doesn't have a wife and kids. You know,
No, single young male.
Single young male.
Like,
okay.
like, you know, low to mid 20s, like 40 to 60K. The most common, I feel like, experience across the board.
Oh,
you know?
Okay. All right. Well,
Regular person.
All right. Take that income, house hack with some of your friends. All right. You're going to miss these guys anyways. Once you have a wife and kids, you're going to wish you could go back to the old days and just bro out with your bros. Right. So get in a house of 4, rent that thing for $2,000 a month, pay $500 a month plus utilities, save that money. Any extra income you have, pick 5 industries that you think are going to be good. I picked AI, fundraising, health, like organics. And then I picked marketing. I went to traffic and conversions. Pick 5 industries that you think are going to be relevant 50 years from now and 50 years after you die. And
I forgot we went to traffic and conversions together.
Yeah. That's why I went.
So
Like I was like, I don't want to be good at marketing. I just want to know people good at marketing.
Yeah.
Because it's like I have no want to be good at marketing. But I want to know people in it and I want to know the gist of it.
You know, I would want to say this. This is a good time to say it. I think the 3 most powerful industries to be in, is real estate in no order. Real estate, banking and finance, and marketing / media.
Yes.
All 3 are the most, if you have these 3, you run the world, basically.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so like, I know one day I'm going to start investing my money into real estate. I just know the problem out of all 3, the banking and finance, you can be small and kill it. Real estate, you can be small and kill it. Media and marketing, you gotta get impressions. You gotta get attention. You cannot be small and like have power. You know what I mean? But the other 2 you can. And so way harder industry cash flow up front wise in regards to reinvesting and not being able to pull out. But I feel like impact wise on a market, media and finance and real estate, like those 3 just run the world in my opinion. I don't know.
I can't think of a 4th to add.
Like,
you're right.
You're going to say health would be the 4th. But like, does that run the influence and power of the world? I don't think so. It's defense.
It's like a byproduct.
Health is defense. It's not offense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Real estate, media, finance, offense. I just can't think of like everything falls in those categories.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I agree. I think it depends on the person as well, right? Like that person may or may not, it's not all about like the finance and all that side. So I would just recommend that people pick 3 things that they think will be around and that they want to be a part of, because you want to work on something or a part of something that will belong here after you die. Because it would suck to work on it for 20 years and then it's a fad and then it's done and you're like, shit, I'm already 60. Like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? So, you know, pick 3 industries that really interest you. Learn everything you can on YouTube. I mean, YouTube. Pay for the $20 a month premium. No ads. Screw the ads.
I'm with you on it.
Fuck the ads.
It's funny because I'm with you on it, but I flip back and forth on YouTube channels a lot of the ones that I am using because of like For Media and my other stuff. They're like half the time I'm on an account that watches ads and half the time I'm on an account that doesn't watch ads. And from the marketing standpoint, I appreciate the ads because I need to see what other people are running on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I love ads, bro.
I have to see what they're
you guys
running.
are marketers.
Yeah.
It sucks that
I don't want to
like,
see ads.
Sometimes, yeah, but the thing is, I think the future will go towards YouTube or a similar service being an ad-free type place, and the viewers themselves are funding the creators. I think that's just the way it has to go.
Yeah.
Because if the infrastructure was possible right now, it would already be. There will still be ads because people will opt out of ads, but you'll be able to opt in or out.
Well, it's like what we have
on
now.
A reasonable type of basis.
$20 a month.
No, I'm
ads.
saying you will have to pay, and there still will be ads.
Really?
For sure. That's what all
on certain platforms.
entertainment comes
Get yours
to.
now because that's a
Not on a
future.
decentralized platform though.
Like what? YouTube?
If there's a DeFi
YouTube's very
YouTube.
central.
No. I'm saying if there was a decentralized YouTube.
Okay, but that's like
I know. And I'm
50
saying if
years
it was
from now?
possible right now, that would exist, but it's not technically, I think, with our technology feasibly possible. But I think in
But it's not even
15
that, bro.
years,
YouTube
it
has
will
been
be.
around for 20 years.
I know.
It took time to build this. It's not like someone's just gonna build one on the blockchain and be like, boom, he's the biggest thing. It's gonna still take him after it's even built.
No, it won't be him. It will be everyone. You'll have to apply compute to participate.
Well,
If that makes sense. Like you'll have to like almost like feed the servers.
Well, I think both of you guys have a point. If history repeats itself, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett say that like life is all about incentives. So they claim to be able to look at your incentive structure of a business and tell you what kind of business you have based upon the incentive structure. So YouTube's based on incentives, how you reward your creators, XYZ things. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it's going to be. There needs to be an incentive for anything, right? We don't do things. We're very incentivized creatures. We don't do things without incentives.
It's either clout or money on social media, pretty much.
Or what did George
Attention
calls
or
violent?
money.
We're very violent.
Violent, incentivized.
Species. Violent and an incentivized species. We're just like little runts to George.
We really are. No, when you zoom way, way out, we're like little ants, dude. We're just running around doing our thing. We don't really even know why.
Yeah.
Until you self-examine.
So save money, work hard, blah, blah, blah. Hoorah, Gary V. But like, what else, bro? You know what I mean? Give me some actionable shit.
I didn't just say that. I mean, I had some.
No.
I know.
But keep going down the rabbit hole. So you said, house hack, get with your buddies.
House hack, get with your
money.
buddy. It would be really cool if you could purchase a house and rent it out to your buddies and live for free and build equity at the same time. That's the true hack. So instead of renting a house from somebody, you could take your income right out of college. There's different lenders that do certain things. Basically, if you just got out of college, don't fall for the fact that you can't buy a house immediately. Lenders can take your 2 years transcript, your last, your UGA or whatever, your college graduate transcript, and use that as your income, even though you didn't make any income. But that was the way they explained it, you're working up to create income, right? So you can have a job for like 3 months. They could look at all you have to do is send your school transcript to them, purchase a house, rent the other bedrooms out to people, live in the bottom like private room, rent the top rooms out, like if you get a townhouse or something, and just house hack, live for free, build equity. Right. In the meantime, work your job, finesse your job. If it's remote, great. Finesse your job to where it doesn't require 40 hours a week. Hack your job to where you can finish it in 20. And then take the remaining of your time, be on YouTube, learning everything about real estate, how money works, politics, any other industry. I think money, like learning how money works, financial literacy is very important. So anything you find on that via real estate, stocks, mutual funds, retirement IRAs, anything like that you want to learn about raising capital, anything like that would be really great.
But here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
What if you already know what you want to do or gonna do? Why would I put 20 hours into it? Why wouldn't I put 40 or 60?
Because if you were so you're saying if you were making 40 grand a year?
Let's say I'm making 60 grand a year, but I know like if I'm here, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like this path that I'm on.
Then that's not even, then we don't even need to have a conversation.
But I'm still making 60. So that's what I'm saying. Like, but it's still the same lifestyle, right? Like save more, like everything's the same. I just don't want to confuse people with the 20 hours a week thing.
You said at first, what is a single person that's making, 40, 60, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What did they do to get level up and get to where, like success?
Yeah.
Right? And now you're saying.
No, I'm saying the same thing. I'm just saying like, what if they're already on the rail, on the train track of like, I already tried these 5 things. I tried marketing. I tried this. And I really like marketing.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
like I shouldn't work 20 hours a week. I just want to clarify that. I don't like if someone's listening and they're like, oh, I know I'm going to do this. I should work 20 hours a week on it and spend 40 hours a week watching YouTube videos.
Oh, well, if they know what they want to do, then absolutely go do it. Then spend your 40 hours a week on YouTube learning more about marketing, right? Or whatever. Go find mentors. Go to marketing conventions. Get networked. Because it's not all about what you know, right? This is a people person. Like my value, because I'm also an extrovert, right? So I'm trying to keep in mind people who are more introverted as well. Like most of my benefits in life have come from the people that I know. Like my network has been my net worth in a lot of ways. That has been very true in my life. But I just don't think that, you can get far in life without people, right? You can't build something great without the help of others. So you need to be personable in some way, and you need to get out there and like state to the world, to the universe that this is what you're going to do. This is what you want to do. This is what you're here to do. And the universe will put the right people in situations in front of you to team up together, like how you guys found each other.
Do you think Elon Musk is extroverted or introverted?
I think he's introverted by nature, but I think he can be an extrovert when he needs
He
to
can be likable.
When
He
I
can be
first met
likable.
you, I thought you were an introvert.
Really?
Yeah.
I could see it both ways because I feel like extroverts like get energy from being around people, and I do see you surround yourself with other people, and you like not partying, I'd say, but like hanging out with people a lot and like being very social. And some people get their energy when they like being around people like exhaust them, and they get their energy from like being by themselves and stuff. So like I could see it both ways because I feel like you work in silence, like you kind of like do some shit that people are like, whoa, wait, George did that? Like, what the fuck? You didn't even talk about it, or like whatever. But I don't know. I feel like you're a mix, but I guess as far as like where you're the most like fulfilled and stuff is with people.
Um, yeah, my default nature is definitely extroverted. Like I love being around people. I love talking, meeting people. But there are days where I just want to just chill on my own and like kind of decompress and like evaluate what I've done or what I've not done. Just kind of like take inventory of like where I'm at. And then it's almost like I heard somebody say like humans are not meant to just go all the time, right? Like it's like a lion. It goes out, it hunts, it catches its prey, and then afterwards, if it fails, it takes some time and chills and like reassesses. It doesn't just hunt every single day. It like hunts, eats for a few days, rests, and then goes for the next hunt. So, there I do have times where I need to kind of relax and just it may not seem that way because maybe I'm not posting on social media that day or whatever. And but yeah, I have days. Some days I don't even get out of bed. Like some days I'll just sleep through the day. Maybe have a laptop in my lap, get some food ordered in. I definitely have those days. Not much, but listen to your body, listen to what you need.
In the beginning, you said a quote about the best time to sow seeds is yesterday. The second best time is today. I feel like you're a guy that's just like sowed a lot of seeds, and you're able to just kind of like see the benefits. Like throughout the years, you've just like put a lot of effort into a bunch of little things, and like they've all kind of grown and come to help you, I guess. Like a lot of people are like, damn, that sounds crazy that you could just like sit in bed all day and like not really do much. And then other days, like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like those other days you're sowing seeds and you're doing things that are like ultimately growing. Like putting in work on your multifamily housing type situations. Like you can go fly out, do your thing for like a couple days, work super hard on that. And then the team does their thing and you can chill for a while until they need your help to move forward or whatever.
Yeah. Every single one of my ventures is like a baby, right? And these kids are like in different stages of their life. So the babies obviously need more attention. The teenagers don't need that much attention. You just kind of need to get with them like once or twice a month and, kind of assist them through text and things like that.
Do you think that's all about finding the right people? Like in the sense of companies?
Yes.
Because if you start off, it's like if you don't have the right people, you've got to really micromanage. But once you start to find those right people,
I'm sure you guys are experiencing the same thing, right? Like
100%.
you guys are in marketing, but after you get to a certain point, your business is not what it is. Like I was telling my partners, we were having a meeting. I was like, look, in the beginning when we were doing all these apartments, like we got up to 600-700 units. It was just me and my two partners, so they're the three of us, and a property manager.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
What are you at now?
Like somewhere over 1,000, either being built or in the process of being built.
Cool.
Like
1,000 units,
1,000 to 1,200, something like that. We just had another property today of like 200 in Kingsland, Georgia. So casual. Because and I don't have to be there because we find good people. So like in the beginning, I always try to do things myself, and because I did it the best. Like who can do it better than me, right? But then you only have 24 hours in a day, and I realized that it's not how life was meant to be, right? Like yes, you could do everything yourself, and there's people that make it through life that do it that way, but there's also it's like a yin and yang kind of thing. Like it completes the cycle, right? If you just do everything yourself and you never let anyone help you, you don't get to experience a life of freedom. You don't get to experience a life to go to the next level. And then that person that you could have given that opportunity to doesn't get the opportunity to step up and become great because you gave them an opportunity to step into a seat that required them to be great. So you're absolutely right. Like our business is not about apartments. It is per se, but it's more becoming our people. Right. Our people is our product. Our people is our main focus, right? We don't have a good team. We're not going to be able to churn out. Our goal is 10,000 units, right? 1,000 a year. Then we're going to go to 2,500 a year. Then we're going to 5,000 units a year. And the only way you can get there is not by 3 people in South Georgia, right? It's And it's crazy. Like the more amount of units I do, I feel like I'm working less in a sense.
Mm.
And I feel like that's the goal. You should feel that way. But it comes in ebbs and flows. Like my first year and a half, I lived on site. I was there, you know, I was in the weeds and all that stuff. And, you know, we have 3 partners, and, you know, every year one partner is probably doing a little less than the other 2 in terms of like whatever, because we have our own live stuff going on. I would say this is my year, right, where I'm doing a little bit less. I got a lot of other things going on, but I'm still there to support my partners. But yeah, now it's just it's to grow the pie. And if you want to grow the pie, you can't be selfish. You can't keep 100% yourself, right? Because who's going to care about your business more than you? Not some $10 an hour employee or a $20, even a $30 you know, employee, right? But if you give somebody a piece of the pie, you say, hey, like, this is also yours. So if this fucks up, this is also on you too, right? But if it also goes to the moon, it's also on you too. And you give an opportunity to say, wow, like, this is my little nest egg too. Like, that's beautiful, because you watch a person come from like nothing, or very little, and you give them an opportunity to like build that up. And once they show you that, like, dude, you're going to give them way more, because why not? It gives you more time. It gives them more opportunity. It's a win-win scenario. It doesn't have to be a zero-sum game at that point. So yeah, you're right. It's all about the people now. And in this current labor market where Americans feel like, a lot of Americans don't feel like they have to go work for a living, or that there's.
How the fuck is that possible?
What do you mean?
This whole scenario of labor right now. Like
The entitlement level, you're saying, or like,
yeah, the whole thing, the supply levels, it just doesn't make sense, dude. Like,
you know, I can only speak on it from
I've never seen so many people not show up to interviews and like just not care enough, or show up late, or like not be dressed well, or like just like a lack of care from the other side, you know, just weak.
Do y'all listen to Naval?
I follow him on Twitter.
Yeah. He's really good.
What does he talk about?
So he's like the Twitter.
What's his last name? Ravikant? or something?
Ravikant. Naval Ravikant. I really like his stuff, man. I mean, he's super successful. He's very calm. He's been on Joe Rogan a bunch.
I've listened to a couple of his podcasts. Didn't he say he was going to run for Congress or something?
I don't know. I never heard
He's going to
that.
run for something, I think.
That would be
I don't
cool.
know. I mean, if I was in his jurisdiction, I'd vote for him. He's a smart dude.
Yeah. You know, it's like humans, you know, it's like the hierarchy of needs, right? After you get, like, money is not everything. That's your first hierarchy of need, right? You need to provide. You need to be able to provide for yourself and those you love. But after that, money matters a lot less. Like, once you have, it doesn't take, there's no number associated to make you feel like you have enough. It's like whatever you feel enough. Like, I knew I didn't need $1 billion. I just needed to have enough money so I didn't have to wake up every day and be like, oh shit, it's 8 o'clock. I should have been at work 30 minutes ago. I didn't want to feel like that. Right. But the next step is like fulfillment. Like, people need to feel fulfilled, and whatever that means. Right. And so, like, you know, for one way or another, I think in the last 2 years since COVID, maybe people have the money or savings or just money the government has been giving us, unemployment. I don't really know.
Maybe some Robin Hood money.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Maybe they got some
crypto.
some GME gains.
Yeah. Put some money in. Oh gosh,
Some Dogecoin gains.
Some Dogecoins, yeah.
Fuck that, bro. Robin Hood locked me out. I lost a lot of money.
What?
When that happened? I remember where I was.
Oh, when they wouldn't let you trade for a few days during the GameStop, dude.
Yeah, some
Dude,
bullshit.
I canceled my Robin Hood account after that. I was like,
Same.
this
I
is
took
BS.
everything out.
They don't want you to win, dude. It's not in their game.
The game's still rigged on
I actually
Robin
should
Hood.
sue, actually.
It's so funny,
I
too.
lost enough to sue.
There should be a class action for that.
It's-
for sure.
I thought
I'm
there
sure there
easily
is.
would be.
Dude, the funny thing is about Robin Hood is the name to me. Steal from the rich and give to the poor, and they're literally just flipping it. They're like, we're still fucking over the poor. We're just pretending like we're helping you.
Yeah.
The market makers still win. The peasants are still trying to day trade on like $10.
So your goal's 10K units? You're not going to go past that?
Oh, that's in the next.
That's just their like.
That was our next 5-year
foreseeable
goal, and we're 1 year in, so that's in the next 4 years
Sick.
to have 10K. So we need to do massive.
That's your like Tesla.
How many
phase
team
one
members
plan.
do you have right now?
Well, we grew this year. We grew from 4 people to now I think we're at 10.
Nice.
We're trying to keep it lean. We don't
have
want
to.
extra.
Yeah.
extra
So all
stuff
your
going
workers
on.
are contractors pretty much, like that
No,
are
W2s,
building and stuff, or what?
W2s no.
So you have
we
10
have
people
super-
building?
Well, we're currently in now 7 cities,
No, those are contractors.
and every city
gonna
needs
say.
a superintendent, an
Okay,
on-site personnel, that
a project manager.
project manager, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
So that's
But all
been
of the
our
like people
growth.
that are freaking hammering nails.
Oh, no,
I was
those are
saying.
subcontractors. Those are subcontractors.
I was like, you don't have 10 people out there freaking
No,
hammering nails.
no.
He's like, we're building 1,000 units a day with 10 people.
Yeah, in a factory in China we could, but not here.
Not here. So if you include all of that, like on a, I guess, yearly basis, how many people are you deploying?
Including the subcontractors?
Yeah. I mean, I
I
don't
don't
know
know.
if you can ballpark it.
Like with all our properties, hundreds, thousand, like at least 1,000. I mean, in 6 properties, probably 1,000 people, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, but we're not employing them. I mean,
Yeah.
we employ 10 people, and then we subcontract out the rest.
It's just cash flow, right? Money in, money out, money in, money out, money in.
Yeah. The goal is we just want to, we see a future that's kind of bleak in terms of opportunity for people. And I think in the future, people are going to need things bundled for them, right? It's like food, shelter, water. Like in the end times, in terms of like the declining times of our nation, like that's what people are going to need. You know what I mean? Like,
Does energy factor in?
Yes, I don't have a solution for that yet. I think Elon's doing a great job. I'll leave
No,
that
I
up
think
to
you're
him.
asking bundling.
Yeah, I was just saying food, power, or wait, you said food.
Oh, yeah. In terms of like utilities.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, utilities. That's been bundled.
Yeah.
Netflix even too.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So we do internet. We do fiber internet. We just signed a.
I was saying food, shelter, water. I was thinking like power, but shelter, you're including the like utilities and stuff.
In shelter, we include everything. So it's like a
Gotcha.
hotel.
Makes
You stay with us. You get one bill from us, and that's the rent. You don't pay for electricity, cable, water, internet, gas, trash, nothing, sewer, nothing. We cover everything else. And so
What's like average rent and like
one
comparable?
bedroom apartment with all utilities included is $950.
And that's
Wow.
And we're
how
talking
big?
state of the art apartment. We got low E glass pane doors, 2x6 walls with spray foam insulation, mini split systems.
How much square footage?
It ranges different properties. I mean, the smallest we've ever built is like
Tiny. I remember you had like a
375.
studio one.
375, and then now we're building like 500, 550.
Okay.
But then now we're going back down to like 400-ish.
Does it cost?
Just because like we're just trying to maximize, we're trying to give people what they need. Like we don't give a fuck about giving people what they want. There's plenty of companies out there if you have the extra money to get what you
the
want.
most basic human right
Exactly.
of living a comfortable enough life to cover your basics, go to work, feel like a respectable human.
Exactly. So our goal is to say, look, as a single father, mother with a child, right? You have a lot of things going on. Drop your kids off to daycare, school. You got 3 jobs you're working up to minimum wage to keep this apartment going. The last thing we want you to do is worry about your water bill, your electricity bill, your internet, right? All that stuff.
Yeah. And then you're going to end up bundling insurance.
Well, we're trying to save people time so they can
do it
reinvest that more back into their kids' life, their own life, their careers, their future, essentially.
Do you see? I mean, I've seen a couple of your stories where, like, for example, like the washing machines are like all messed up and like people leave their stuff in there and one was over flooded and one's broken. Do you feel like a lot of I'm not trying to put a blanket statement on low income people by any means, but do you feel like a lot of quote unquote low income people are not really trying to pull themselves by their bootstraps, or they're just kind of living at the most minimum existence they can live, and they're not really trying to get out of that?
Great question. So I want to make it clear. We don't do Section 8 or anything like that. We do market rate rents. It's just we don't take any special subsidies or anything like that. So any of you guys could rent, I could rent, anything like that.
It's like high quality people.
We just rent to anybody that has $950. We don't care if you're a billionaire. We don't care if you have like $5,000 in the bank to your name, or $1,000 in the name. If you pass a credit background check, you're a good person, and whatever, we'll rent to you. So
I have some friends that just started renting with you. We don't need to name them, but
oh really?
you know who they are. They're at my wedding.
Oh yeah. That's right.
That's
Where was that? Okay, so to answer your question, like the people that rent with us, right? How do I say this? This goes all back to the entitlement thing. right? It's like the people that need, from what I've seen, not everyone, but a large majority of the people that I've seen are a little bit entitled. The problem is, I don't think they think they're entitled, right? They just come off to me as entitled from just what I can see. And I'm sometimes repulsed by that because I'm like, I could never get to where I am today if I felt or acted or carried myself the way you carry yourself. But the problem is, like, how do you tell somebody that? How do you say, like, hey,
And
keep
you
it
hold
up?
yourself to a pretty high standard.
Right.
They might not.
It's just like, look, you don't want to be in this life forever, but it really starts in the house. It really starts in the dining room as a kid with their parents, right? It's like stuff that we cannot reteach them when they're like 28, 30, right? It's like,
It's easier to fix broken kids than broken adults.
yeah, but the problem is we don't have a solution for even fixing broken kids right now that are starting at that age where they should be trained by good parents, in a solid household, right? Like basically we're producing shit. We're mass producing like crap right now, right? In terms of our household, in our society, right? We don't put a lot of focus in education, right? What keeps a nation strong is the middle fucking class. We're not producing a great middle class, right? From multiple reasons, right? Like the parents that are teaching their kids that are in middle class, they have no time to teach their kids. They have no time to baby their kids. They have no time to be a parent to their kids because they're out here trying to make bills meet because, people out here, shit's expensive. You know what I mean? So it's a repetitive, just negative feedback loop to the freaking bottom.
And the middle class, I feel like, is all about projecting wealth right now. How can I look
rich,
rich and project myself as being rich on social media and in front of my friends, but secretly no one knows that I have fucking 50 grand in debt.
Yeah.
That's another aspect of it that's really fucking crazy.
Y'all heard that thing about TikTok, right? Where it's obviously owned by a Chinese company now, and the incentive structure, Warren Buffett's incentive structure, is in the U.S. The algorithms reward people in other countries besides China. They reward the best creators that are rewarded are the ones that do dog happy videos, twerking videos, dumb shit. And then in China, they reward people that do educational, happiness, financial, resilience, physics.
And kids aren't allowed to be on the app between certain hours or something crazy. They can't be on the app during like school hours and like sleeping hours.
Dude, that's like the ultimate, like, it's like having like an Asian parent, but for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like when I went to college in Athens, I was like, yes, I'm so far away. I can do what the fuck I want and I can just ball out, But it's like, I used to think like that was a bad thing, but I'm like, I mean, there is cons to that. I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to, like, whatever. Like, we should have the self responsibility to patrol ourselves and say, hey, I'm spending too much money on time on video games. Like, there's women out there, there's men out there, there's the opposite sex to pursue. There's careers to pursue. There's a life ahead of me to pursue.
Skills to pursue,
right?
Damn.
But I don't know, man. Like, I'm seeing China in the way they are right now. I can't say that they're all doing that bad. And that's what's painful for me because I used to grow up thinking like, dude, they're like mindless freaks over there listening to their government. And in a lot of ways to us, they are. But I went there and asked them. I asked my Uber driver there. It's not called Uber anymore. It's called Didi. But I asked my Didi driver.
Didi. I know exactly
designated
what you're
driver.
about.
Dude, I'm like, hey,
Is
your
that what it
government.
is? I don't think it is.
No, I know, but it's funny because it's like DD, Kind of funny.
But it's spelled DIDI.
Yeah. But still, it's kind of funny.
So I would ask them, I'm like, all my Uber drivers, anywhere I'm in the world, Colorado, US, I always ask them questions. Hey, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. I always try to figure out their life and like the problems that they're experiencing. But in China, I'm like, yo, like, do you guys ever wonder about Facebook, Google, YouTube, all these American websites that you guys are not allowed to go on? And like literally every single person that I asked, granted, these are the Didi drivers were, I think, on average 35 and older. So they're the older generation.
Maybe
40, maybe older than that.
Yeah, for sure.
They were like, well, if our government bans it from us or prevents us from looking at it, it's for our own benefit. Like, we shouldn't want to look at those things. Like, that's the real answer.
Whoa.
And in 2018,
That's
2019.
some governmental paternalism right there.
Yes. But in 2018, 2019, when I was less woke about it, I was like, wow, that's so fucking stupid. That's ridiculous. Like, you can't think for yourself, blah, blah, blah. But now I'm starting to understand, like, as from the Chinese government perspective, I'm like, that is a really cool way to ensure that you're number one for a long time. And I'm not saying that that's the right or wrong way to do it. I'm just saying, like, they're clearly doing something right in terms of like how to scale ahead.
Aren't there a limited amount of Hollywood movies allowed in China? Like there's only like a certain amount per year, like 10 or something?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Because I heard something about that recently. Anyways, sorry.
I know a lot of China funds Hollywood for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know,
The NBA.
Yeah, it's
A lot of.
we just need to be ready as Americans to know that the life we enjoy now, all this dumb spending that we do, all this stupid credit shit that we do, when one day the United States is not the reserve currency of the whole world anymore and it becomes cryptocurrency or the Chinese yen, yeah, we're going to be fucked and we're going to experience massive inflation, shit that we can't print our way out of. And I just hope that people are ready for that. And don't cry wolf. And at that time, it's going to be too late to do anything, by the way, because by that time, people our age are going to be 40, 50. I don't know. Like, yeah, you're going to get fucked hard. And I'm just saying this to say, like, you know, if this resonates with whoever's listening, like, you know, take some action, like, you know, reach out to me on my Instagram, like whatever, like, maybe I might be putting out some content about this. A lot of people have been interested about this. The way I'm raising my Tulum fund, I'm in Mexico, is a lot about this. A lot of people keep hitting me up like, hey, I got $100,000. I'm like, how the fuck? Like in the history of like all my life, does everyone have $100,000 in the bank right now? Like $50,000 in the bank? Like everyone has fucking money right now. No one wants to do with the money, right? Like you go into real estate, 4% is like a good yield, right? It's like 4%. Like what? Like that's good. You know, it's like, but people are not looking beyond their borders. We have to look at emerging markets. United States has gone and passed for a lot of things, not everything, right? United States is still a great freaking country.
If we believed in some kind of stable store of value, 4% or 7% would be pretty like impressive. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, I'm able to get this much more just for having it. That's sick, you know?
Yeah.
But like we're exposing ourselves to ways of storing that value that are not increasing in value, and in fact, completely decreasing. And that's why like you're so bullish on real estate, because like a place to live is always going to be worth something. It's always going to be valuable to somebody somewhere, always, no matter what, really.
Yeah. So in the last week, I've actually, and let me know if we're going off topic or anything like that, but in the last week, I've thought a lot about like, what is my value to the world? Like, what is my value to my friends and family, the people that are around me? And, you know, I'm putting together a package right now that's what I consider a Plan B package. And it's an ability for people to invest their finances into another country. So let's say Central America, South America. And then at the same time, by doing that, they also get put in for a temporary and permanent residency. And later on, potentially they can go for a citizenship. So they have a backup Plan B. And if in the future, when the two superpowers, one that's declining, United States, and the one that's inclining, that's rising, China, goes to a nuclear World War III war.
Oh.
And some shit goes down. Well, if you look at the last two world wars, who have the two continents that have not been fucked? Well, it's been North and South America. Well, sorry, three, and Africa. Really, Europe got screwed. China got screwed. You know, Asia got screwed. A lot of places, but
U.S. got some droppings here and there. You know,
not on our soil.
Little Pearl Harbor over here.
Yeah. Well,
nothing
yes,
crazy. Nothing crazy.
But on this
Twin
soil,
Towers and Pearl Harbor, really, that's pretty much all we got.
You're in the next World War. You best believe. I don't know if they'll be able to drop troops on our borders effectively. There's too many Americans that have AR-15s and just armed to the teeth.
Thank God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Please get armed, by the way. Second Amendment to support that. But we're seeing that in Ukraine. Dude, the governments were handing out guns second day after they were invaded. That's fucking too late.
Yeah.
Fucking too late, by the way. Let's learn from the Ukraine crisis, by the way. And on a topic about that, I was talking to a girl. Her name is Victoria. She's my media editor. She's from Ukraine, and she lives 30 kilometers from the border of Russia. I asked her on February 15th, the day after Valentine's. I remember this. I was like, hey, is the video ready? Oh, by the way, in America, we're showing satellite videos all over CNN of like, there's a huge conglomerate of military forces on the Ukraine border all the way around. Like, what's going on? Are y'all worried about war or anything like that? She's like, no, just chill. You guys, American media, just like blowing shit out of proportion. And like, you guys are just freaking out. Y'all are just like instigating shit. And she was just saying, not me, but like I was like, oh, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure because my media is saying this, but I wanted to check you're on ground level here. I just want to get the facts straight. I was like, fine. And then even Zelensky came out at that point and was like, America, back the fuck off. You guys are like stirring up shit you don't have to stir up. And then guess what? A few days later, invasion. And I didn't talk to her for a week. They hit out all satellite or radio communications. I thought she was dead. 2 weeks later, I get her back on WhatsApp. And then I'm like, hey, are you okay? She had moved her whole family from the border of Russia back to the west, like towards Poland, like in another city. And she was still editing my video. She was like uploading shit to me in another city. I was like, this is fucking crazy. And then like, that makes me think like she was getting gelato that Sunday before. She was eating, she was normal, right? This shit can happen in an instant. And I'm not saying like doomsday or anything like that. I'm just saying like,
you gotta be prepared for something.
we got to be prepared. You know what I mean?
Especially if you're well off. If you got $100,000 in the bank, you got to have some kind of plan B, at least, is what you're kind of trying to say.
Yes, exactly. What got us here today is not going to get us there tomorrow, right? Like being lazy because we've made it per se, whatever the fuck made it means. But
so in this media case, was the U.S. just they saw things before it happened, or like because Russia's big, bro. Going from like the capital all the way to Ukraine is not like a 1-day trek with tanks.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? Like these guys, it's not like they're flying there. You know what I mean? They're like driving. So
yeah,
it kind of makes sense. Like they said, hey, there's a bunch of people coming your way, and Ukraine's like, stop being a dick, and then they actually got invaded. Like, is that what happened? Was that kind of how it timed out? Like Ukraine didn't even know? There's no way.
Well,
right?
Russia was claiming that they were doing military exercises on the border, on their side of the border, which is completely allowed. We do the same thing in the United States. Everybody does the same thing, right? But the United States did come out and say like, hey, there's a high probability there's about to be an invasion because we see a fucking pileup of military arsenal vehicles, troops on the border all the way around, like the hundreds of miles from the Ukraine-Russian border, like all around. Yeah. And like, this looks like an invasion. And even at that point, when she told me, I was like, dude, America is such a piece of shit country in terms of media. I was even thinking to myself, I was like, the fucking American media, like, fuck them.
They're trying to distract us from something. Yeah.
From COVID, like whatever it is. Like, this is just some bullshit, American ass shit. And then this shit happens. And I'm like, this restores my faith in like some parts of our media, because I'm like, dude, even the fucking president, Zelensky, and my friend, ground level information was even like, we're oblivious, dude. And that just makes that got me scared as shit. I became a prepper overnight. I started buying a bunch of shit. And
at what level of prepper do you think is acceptable for people?
Dude, I feel like you need to know how to grow your own food. I think you need to know how to forage.
That's some crazy shit, bro.
Like,
you're taking it so far.
I'm an Eagle Scout, so like I learned a lot.
I don't even want
So funny. George is like, get your F-16s ready. We're about to have a nuke war.
No, but I'm saying
Girl Scout, I used to sell the most in my neighborhood.
No, but in Boy Scouts, the motto is be prepared, and they teach you a lot of that stuff.
Where is the Boy Scouts these days? Is that still around? I was in Boy Scouts.
No, what happened was, so the Boy Scouts traditionally have been like a very religious organization without being religious. So
they actually just got rocked by a lawsuit.
I went to Boy Scouts right outside my church. It was in my church parking lot in a private thing.
Exactly. So there was always a lot of ties with the Boy Scouts to like religion, and a lot of troops were Mormon troops, and a lot of them were Christian churches troops. My troop that I was in was a Christian troop. And as soon as the Boy Scouts of America organization came out and said that they could have, I think it was gay scoutmasters. So basically like the head leaders, the male leaders of the Boy Scouts were allowed to be gay. All of the churches were like, sorry, but we really can't be a part of this anymore because it goes against what we believe. And pretty much all the churches pulled out. And then they went even a step further with the wokeness, and they said now girls are allowed, and now transgender people are allowed and stuff. And so even more.
But Girl Scouts has Girl Scouts.
They do.
Yeah.
Why are girls allowed in Boy Scouts?
They're not even connected organizations, so it's a totally different thing. But
Girl Scouts is not the same thing as
I'm sure they have somewhat of a relationship, but they're not like affiliated in like an official way.
Right? I thought they were just like best friends.
No,
see, this is
because even
problem.
Scouts started in England. Like Scouts was in England, and then the Boy Scouts of America is like a different organization. But anyways, that's kind of what happened to Boy Scouts, and now like. It's just not
all
as
in all. Andrew
upon.
is prepped and primed for.
Thank you, by the way, for that history
war.
lesson.
No problem.
Like that was great information.
Yeah,
I learned a lot about Scouts.
Yeah. And like in scouts, you learn a lot of stuff. You learn leadership. Like you learn like all of the, it's like you learn like what a scout is supposed to be: trustworthy, kind, loyal, brave, obedient, thrifty, clean, and reverent. Like you learn like all these things and all these skills. And like some people take it to heart. Some people are just like going through the motions because their parents make them do it. But like you learn a lot of shit. Like they make you learn like survival skills and stuff.
This is a soft ass little bitch over here.
I mean, I was in it for
no, but
George is like, we need to survive a nuke. He's like, you can be reverent and trustworthy.
No. But that's just about being a good
and
person.
with these characteristics, we can survive.
No. But you also do. But you also like hike and make your own food and shit.
No,
yeah,
I
forage.
get
Yeah.
that.
You literally like do all that shit.
I know,
But it's like the foundation of being a good person without religion. How do you even do that?
Yeah, no,
Like without religion, how do you teach someone to be a good person? Like you just got to be a good parent and like know the shit beforehand. But like that's the one good thing about religion is it kind of teaches everybody just to be like nice to each other and shit. You know?
how to get along, be a good person, give back, you know,
Eye for an
live
eye,
beyond you.
cheek for cheek.
Yeah, it's
Which kind of cheat?
when you said that, for me, like, I kind of got like a little sad again because like all the basic things that should just be like good can be perceived as like bad, you know, and it's like, all right, so they had this argument of like having a person that can be a scout leader that can be gay. Now there's no Boy Scouts of America, or there's not less funding or whatever it is, less participation, and it's like this is all. I mean, like take ourselves out of this.
No, but that's
Conversation
just
for a
bad
minute.
market fit, bro.
I know, but
All your people are fucking Christian users. It's like it just
but think
doesn't make
think
sense.
about this though.
But
Boy
they're
Scouts,
kids, bro.
They were trying to be inclusive and they actually ended up destroying the whole organization, unfortunately.
yes, but think about it this way: screw the organization, screw all that. This is just another example how what makes a country great starts at the dinner table. The good, proper, right, moral values are taught by the parents of the kids at the dinner table. Then it goes to the city level. Then it goes to the state, municipal level. Then it goes to the state. Then it goes to the federal, you know, the country level, and then it goes towards the world. Like we can't want these macro level changes without these micro level changes at the very beginning of our human lives as a child. And like something as awesome and as important as learning how to survive, you know, working with your hands, striving for something in a Boy Scout has now been gone, you know, like been removed because of some disagreement about XYZ things. Screw what we were disagreeing about. Look at the consequences of that.
No,
right?
no, but it's not that simple, bro. It's not that simple. It's like
It's
it's like the fucking Asian club. There's
isn't.
10,000 of us, and then I'm the president, and I go, guys, moving forward, we are gonna be the Indian club. And everyone leaves.
I get it.
I'm
I get
mad
it.
now that we couldn't include.
I get it.
Indians.
I get it. I'm not saying it's easy.
It's like you can't do that.
I'm
you
not
know?
saying it's easy. All I'm saying is look at the consequences of this. Whatever the disagreement is.
There's
I don't-
more to it though. Just to be fair, I ran lead campaigns for this lawsuit. There was a mass tort lawsuit, and it was against Boy Scouts who were like going through pedophilia.
There was a lot of pedophilia cases that happened in Boy Scouts, unfortunately.
Bro, I'm talking
A lot.
tens. I'm talking
lot.
tens of thousands.
A lot.
Not like hundreds,
But
tens. We were signing up 10 cases a day, and we were not running the massive sides of campaigns. that other people
the thing
were.
is too, I mean, at least in my troop, since we were like a Christian troop, if anything came up about that type of stuff, it was always like taken extremely, extremely seriously. Because like they were like, if anything ever happens, like tell
it's
us.
sacred to that. I mean,
Exactly. It's like if there is any inkling
How
of
did the
any of
religious
that.
groups get away with it?
It's always a religious group.
They didn't have to go through no lawsuits. Who sues the Catholic Church or the bishops?
They're like,
Who?
we're
Who does it? Who sues the Vatican?
They're like, we're in our own jurisdiction, bitch.
Exactly.
We're our own little country, chilling in the middle of
I guess
Rome.
all we have to look forward to
90%
as
males.
humans is we'll just all live individually in our houses separately with no interactions with anyone, and we won't have a problem with anyone.
We'll just
That'll be a great world.
We'll
to
be
live
so
in.
atomized that we'll just have to
Which
live
side
in
of the
metaverse.
transgender swimmer argument are you on?
Whoa. We're going there.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much where we are. We're like there already. I just want
I
to.
mean, I don't know.
We're kinda
dude.
there.
Like I was a swimmer growing up. I swam for 10 years competitively, and I was good, but I wasn't that good. But
Mhm.
if I went to this girls' swim team, I would have crushed them probably. in terms of like where I was at my skill level. I don't think that's fair personally. But it's cool to me to see that
Even if
women,
you took hormones that decrease your ability. Because that's a lot of the argument.
The short answer
she took
is
hormones.
the way I was brought up is the way I
think
look at
the
it.
bone density is
but
still
not
there.
everybody's going to agree with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think men's sports should be men's sports, women's sports should be women's sports, you know, like,
and there should maybe be a transgender league or something. I really don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a Special Olympics, right? Right. Why is there not a trans Special Olympics? I don't know.
Yeah, should there be? Yeah, who knows?
You know, I don't know. The world is becoming
I'm not
a very
putting them in the same
complicated
category,
place,
but
and I wish it wasn't so complicated because all it's doing is. All right, let's fuck the divide. Has anything brought the world together recently that you guys can think of?
Will Smith slapping the fuck out of Chris Rock.
I think it was still divided though, because people were saying whether Chris or Will was in the right.
Yeah.
God, you're so right.
Stephen, what was that ESPN guy?
Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith was like, fuck Will Smith. How can he do that? He can't take a joke. You know, and then the other people were like, yeah, I would have slapped him. Like,
and then my mom's over here saying that it was like last night she was telling me that there was a company that was like an alopecia company that was coming out with a cure and they sponsored the whole thing. And I'm like, oh my God.
They did. They sponsor the Oscars. Just
well,
saying. Not that I'm on your mom's argument. I'm just saying it is a fact.
There was like a bunch of drug companies that sponsor the Oscars. My thing is, what else do drug companies sponsor besides TV? It's just old people watch TV. What else do drug companies sponsor, or are they allowed to sponsor? I feel like the only thing I see drug companies sponsor is TV.
Whatever.
You know?
No idea, man. Fund their pocketbooks, probably.
If you had to invest in other countries right now, Mexico, Argentina, Nicaragua?
Mexico, Nicaragua for right now. My sights are set on Argentina. I'm going there in a month or so.
So when you say you're bullish on Argentina, you're literally saying like, I want to start a company where people can invest.
No,
like,
I'm bullish on Mexico and Nicaragua for right now.
But you have to buy those houses cash, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's
all of them is cash.
Big downside.
And then that's another crazy part is that we live in a society in the United States where you can put 3% down and buy a fucking house. Like nowhere else in the world that I've seen has that.
Exactly.
And
that's
people think that we don't,
code.
and people still can't put 3% down. Like how fucked.
But I mean, in what cases do you actually see people put 3% down?
I do all the time.
Really?
Yes. It's possible. People they're not educated. They're not financially educated. Please, please get financially educated for you, your future families, the world.
Where would you start? Like resources on YouTube? Are there specific people you'd watch?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You know, you got to know that there's a different world out there. You got to know that there's people out there doing it the way like you could. I mean, you got to know that there's just a different way to look at it. Start there. Go to YouTube. Go to learn about talk to your mortgage lenders. Talk to your.
Man, I wish there was a place I could just give my money and they would take it and invest it in real estate for me. George, do you know anywhere that could do that?
I'm not that. I don't want to be that guy right now. Like
I want to be the guy giving you money.
I'm too busy doing my own deals. You know, I don't want to be a guru right now. And if I ever became a guru, I don't think I would charge people for a course because that just instantly I share the same view as Naval. He doesn't charge for his courses because he doesn't want to be another guru charging people for courses. I don't consider myself a guru. I just consider myself a very curious person and a person that desires truth heavily. Like I can't survive off of just like fake shit. Like I want to know like deep down, like how this world is run, like how shit is done in the real life. Cause I don't want my whole life to be like, I lived a lie. You know what I mean?
You want to peel back the layers as much as possible.
Yeah.
Figure out what's really going on.
Cause like, what is all this for anyways? Okay. Like all of us make it, we make $1 billion. So what the fuck? What does it matter? We're going to die. It goes all, it's like Monopoly, right? My mentor told me this. He's like, okay. He's like, I used to play Monopoly. I had this realization. He's like, I beat everybody. We were at family Christmas. I beat everybody under the table. Like at the end of it, like I beat everybody. Like everyone lost. I won the game of Monopoly. And he's like, at the end, I just took all the pieces, all my hotel, my red and green pieces, and I put it back in the box. And then he was like, then it hit me. It all goes back in the box. It's not yours forever. And so it's like, what the fuck are we here to do? Like what more existentially, like why, like what is the point of all this? Right? Have some kids, make sure they're good, make sure they don't turn out to be little shitheads, you know, make sure they're not spoiled, make sure they give back to society. You know, what is this all for? Like if I make $1 billion, so what? 100 billion, a trillion, whatever. It all goes back in the fucking box. Can't take it with you. And so it's like, you know, that's kind of the question I'm asking myself right now. It's like, you know, you're doing all these things. It's all good. It's all cool. Maybe I shouldn't think so deep into it, but I can't help it. That's just how my mind works. But like, I just want to make sure like my time is being useful here. And like, I don't want the way I make money to be charging people for courses or teaching people how to make it. Like
you don't want to gatekeep knowledge.
No,
you want to give it freely.
Like, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't freely given knowledge from other people. And I just don't feel like it should stop there. Everything should be free. I'm an open book. I'll tell you how I do my real estate. I'll tell you. If you want to know the numbers, I'll tell you. I don't give a fuck, because at the end of the day, like, it takes hard work.
You know, the scarce resource is human effort and finding those right people and all that stuff.
A lot of ways it is. But yeah. I want somebody with drive. If I find somebody that tells me, George, next week, I want to take the plans you've done in this real estate, I want to do it myself, I would say, look, why don't you just come do it with me? Because you're clearly capable. Why don't I just take you under my wing and show you how to freaking do it? And you'll learn 20 times quicker instead of doing it yourself. Like, you can learn everything me and my partners have learned in the last 25 years. I'll teach it to you and you'll have it done in a year and a half. That's like living 20 years in 1 year. And come do it with us. Join the team, buddy. Like, so that's what I would do, right? But I don't really meet a lot of people like that. And that's probably a fault of mine. I'm not out there enough, I guess. But I hope to meet more people like that.
It's not that you're not out there. You just don't put yourself out there online enough.
Possibly. I don't have the visibility that I should have. Which I'm toying with it now. I don't like to be very visible out there, but I'm seeing it as
network is net worth, bro.
Yeah.
The only for other people to meet you is to see you.
Yeah. So
you're posting on
right.
YouTube a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just playing around with it. A lot of that stuff is content for myself, really. A lot of the travel videos and stuff that I post is like, when I get 80, I want to be able to, like, my last day that I know I'm about to die, I just want to like run through all my YouTube videos and just see all the amazing memories and friendships that I've made through these videos. And a lot of it's just for me. And I've uploaded some like real estate stuff because a lot of people ask me about it and got a lot of comments and like people wanting to learn more about how to do it. But you just can't teach people how to build an apartment through YouTube videos. You know what I mean? It's just not possible. So I'm always telling people, like, dude, if you guys are really interested in it, just take a one-way flight to Atlanta, come meet me, you know, hang out with me for like
we dropped the podcast, 100 people are like, hey, George, can I room with you?
You know, be ready to work your ass off. Be ready to work your ass off. Like, I'm not going to go light on you either. You know what I mean? So
you live in one of my rooms. I build you an apartment. You live in my apartment and I train you as my apprentice.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's what I would do. Yeah, like, if I wasn't where I like am
if I was
today
the
and
other person,
know,
I would take that deal all day. But like, you wouldn't take that deal.
I mean, I don't need to take that deal.
But maybe
right
you
now,
would have.
But I have taken those deals in the past.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like, if like 5 people called you and were like, hey, we want to come and intern with you, George, you'd be like, I don't have time for that right now.
No, I don't want to do intern.
Exactly. I
don't have time to do anyone else's deals. I barely have enough time to finish my own. So
but if they came and worked for you, and if they
I
really
wouldn't
had the
want
drive,
them to work for me. I want them to work with me. And I want them to just see what I do and be able to know in their mind, like, hey, this is where George needs some help. Like, I want to help in this area. Like, I want them to be self-aware enough to be like, look, this is where I can be of importance. This is where I can be of value.
That is hard to teach.
And if they haven't gotten there yet, then I don't need them, because I would have to teach them. It would be more burden on me. I don't need more burden. I need more people who know what they have. They just need that extra step to get to where they need to go. And boom, I'm not babying them. They're coming here and they're doing their thing.
You know what's crazy, bro? In our interview process, I used to like give everything so laid out to people, like when they were interviewing and what times the interviews are and things like that. And now I intentionally, and I tell this to Gabe all the time, I say like make it less easy for them to figure it out. Like when someone's like, what's the office address? I don't send it to them. I tell them, look it up. You know what I mean? Like that's how far it goes, because I don't want people in the company that need to be told what to do. I need self-sufficient thinkers that can make decisions on their own, find problems and solve them. You know what I mean? Like from the beginning, it's crazy because we've eliminated so many people that would have been like that just by being like that in the interview process. Some people might
not letting their first obstacle be the thing that stops them. Like, oh, well,
not even giving them the answer.
Eddie didn't even tell me
like,
it. So I guess, you know, if I don't show up, that'll be my excuse.
Just the fact that you asked me,
means you didn't exhaust all your resources.
Asterisk on your interview process.
At the very least, you could text and go, "Hey, is this the address?"
Exactly. That's the question I want. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. That's the subtle difference between people that make it and don't, in my opinion.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the address? Like, bro, like, type the name in Google at least and just see if that comes up.
Just see.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah. Was that enough content about like the real estate side, or do we get too deep in the weeds on future world?
You really don't think
Problems.
the world's gonna go well for the next 40 years? That's all.
I don't. That's
definitely what I
not
learned.
true. That's not true. I just think that if people think it's hard today, I hope people think it's easy today. Because if you think it's hard today in 2022, you're in for a rude awakening. But that doesn't mean the world's going to be bad. That just means that
Times
20
are
years
going to be
from
harder.
now, 20 years from now, the world's going to require more of you to be the same, to maintain the same level.
I've thought about this.
But for me, it ain't going to be bad. For you, it ain't going to be bad. No, we're gonna do the right steps. But for other people, it's going to be shit. Right.
For
So
sure.
I'm hoping, I'm trying to say, hey, like wake up a little bit, come around Eddie a little bit more, come around Andrew a little bit more, come around me a little bit more, find people like us, right, that are going places, right? Provide value. Don't be a fucking leech, right? Provide value, jab, jab, right hook kind of thing, right? Like provide value. Don't ask for shit all the time. Just provide value, be a part of something, know that there's something greater than beyond you, provide, push, strive, and be a productive member of society, essentially. Like don't be lazy and then complain that shit ain't going well.
Because also I think about this in our business. We have people that are, overseas and things like that. And I mean, it makes sense when someone's remote and the job, like for example, in my position, like we have editors that are here physically, and we have editors that are in other countries. And the ones that are in other countries, like it'd be a lot easier for them to be here because then we could just give them SD cards, they get the footage, all the stuff. But they're able to be just as skilled as someone that's here, but we unfortunately pay them less because of the inconvenience of the divide, Like if they were here, I'd have no problem paying them more because they'd be able to like do more. You know what I mean? And it's like,
That's not necessarily true.
not always,
It's market value, right?
but that's what I'm saying is now the people here are having to also compete for the fact that, oh wow, there's someone who's able to do my job better than me. And now I'm having the seat pressure of someone that's getting paid even less than I'm like willing to accept, but they're even more talented than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's true for sure.
And that's what I'm seeing is like, damn, like I'm going to have to get really more skilled even here because my job is literally getting taken by someone overseas that's just worked harder than me and done more with the circumstances they've been given than I have.
I think that's a good thing.
I think so too. It's like I said, it's kind of like the equalization.
Globalization is a good thing.
That's what you meant when you were asking that earlier.
Because it's like people in less fortunate
100%,
situations
100%.
can play freaking, what's that crypto game that like people were making money on? Axie Infinity. Now it got hacked, but anyways, but people were making money just playing this
Do you know
video
what he's talking
game.
about? I don't know what he's talking
No, but it's just funny.
There's a game called Axie Infinity where it's a video game. And, in a video game, you're working to earn what? Prestige, points, whatever. In the case of this game, what you were working for was fucking crypto, like NFTs and like whatever in the game. So if you were good at the game, whatever the fruits of your labor in the game could be traded for real world fiat and shit. So there's people in Africa with an internet connection playing Axie Infinity all day and making money, just as much money as not as much money as it would be worth for me to play it, because my time's worth more to go do my real job. But for them, they could play Axie Infinity and make more money than they can make in a month.
Yeah.
Because they have the internet, it's wild. What's happening? Oh, Eddie's fixing your mic.
Thank you. Over halfway
Yeah.
through the podcast, we're
Yeah, well, thanks to my wife outside.
Terry made us fix the makes. Made us
Thank you,
fix it.
Terry.
George has like been doing the whole podcast like this.
Where his face is like behind.
like, I even asked you on the fucking beginning. I'm
No,
like,
I
this
know,
is
but-
right.
but slowly
It
over
kinda-
the podcast,
slowly it went higher.
Yeah, slowly it went from like you having it well done to like
Yeah, just bring it a little.
So
Yeah, what's up?
Bring,
Right?
bring it a little lower. Bring it a little lower. Yeah, there we go. So we can see your mouth.
Okay, perfect.
But yeah, the equalization, like, jobs are, becoming more equal around the world. If I can do it, the skill of editing in the Philippines, or I can do the skill of editing in Florida, what difference does that make if I'm doing the same skill at the end of the day? But the same.
Americans should be very worried because
Yeah.
of that reason.
Yep.
Human capital is becoming less and less important as we get more into automation, AI, robotics,
free markets as well.
systematizing, everything really. Like, especially in this age, if I'm a business and I'm thinking, wow, labor is so hard to do. I'm thinking like, how can I run my business with less labor? Local
Yeah.
labor
Yep.
in the United States. How can I outsource more of my market? Lucky you guys are marketing. You guys can outsource this to, I'm in construction. Like, dude, we can't outsource Filipino people to build our apartments remotely.
You can't for like your admin part, right?
Right. We could do that. But there's some business out there who can't. Right. And so
Like, also, is it worth doing that? It's like sometimes like it's such a small piece of your business that it's an inconvenience.
yeah.
Like having 5 people in another country. Like I'd rather have 4 here and just fucking pay the price and not be worried about this shit over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like labor markets, bro, this is what I'm saying. It's a free market. Like I totally agree with you, Andrew. Like even now, bro, like we put out applications here for a very good salary. Not like holy shit insane salary, but like if you're coming out of school, you're 2 years out of school and you're not like hella experienced in this field, like we're offering salaries that are like much more than reasonable and we give a raise pretty quickly. Long story short, like people are hard to find.
Really?
Serbia, I spend $50 on a Facebook ad and I have 582 applicants.
Not lying
Ready
about that
to work.
number.
Does that sound like another country's hungrier than the United States?
Exactly. Ready to work. I'm talking engineers, copywriters, bro, like out
And
of
you
the 580, a good 85 were like highly qualified. We ended up interviewing like 40 people.
Speak
bro.
really great English.
Like insane, bro. Bro, I introed, let me just put it in perspective.
Yeah.
We have 80 people on a call on a Monday.
I know exactly what you're about to say, and we never talked about this. Keep going.
Right?
I know exactly what you're about to say.
respect.
Keep
First
going.
time ever. I was like, guys, I want to introduce you guys to new. At this point, every Monday we're introducing like 1 or 2 new people on the team. We're just like, this is like an HR company. So I'd like to introduce someone new on the team from London, and I just get cut off by someone, and it's her, the girl that I'm about to intro, and she's like, Eddie, if it's okay, I'd like to introduce myself to everyone. I'm like, go for it. She's like, hi, I'm this. This is what I do. This is where my passion's in. I'm very skilled in these things. I'm excited to be a part of this company. Already seems so fun so far. Super excited to help in this department. I think I'm going to bring a lot of value here and super excited to see how this team grows. I'm very excited to be a part of this company.
The only reason why I knew she was Serbian is because of her last name.
That's the only thing. I couldn't even tell from her voice. If you close my eyes, I'd be like,
Girl lives
American,
in-
went to high school.
This girl lives
in
in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Dude, I was like, what the fuck? I'm like,
Yeah.
and that's what people here are competing with. Where people here, let me tell you, American experiences happen a few times. Walk out the door and don't come back. Don't say anything to anyone.
Yeah.
Their closest friends that they've been friends with at work, nothing. We had a guy walk and leave. Like he's going to lunch, never came back. Laptops here, nothing. He signed out of everything. He left
Didn't
it.
even tell his work friends.
Bro, these are his work friends that like go out with him at night, buy his daughter's gifts, disappeared. He's okay. He ended up, people found out and like, he was just like, yeah, I just wanted to leave.
Mm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
We're just, and that's fine.
No, it's not fine, actually. It's not fine at all. That's
I mean,
a very
in
piss poor
America-
way to operate your life.
Well, we have the luxury in the United States just to walk away and leave like that. A lot of people, that's life and death. I guarantee if it was a life and death situation for him, he wouldn't have. But hey, we're Americans. We were born into that luxury. A lot of people weren't. So kudos to us. Kudos to them for leveling the playing field and getting onto our level, even though they weren't provided that. And I cheers to them that they will be the future of the world in terms of the youth and prosperity and the grind that this world needs, because I don't see the world as just the United States. I see the world as like a collective, as a human species, right? We're all together in this, even though we have disagreements, right? So I don't care where the opportunity comes from. My job as an entrepreneur, as an investor, is to go where I'm treated best. And if that's not the United States, that's not the United States. I'll go to another emerging market, right? United States will always still be my home, right? South Africa was the home of Elon Musk. He's now here in America. He came to where he was treated best. But as soon as something is not treating you the best, you need to go somewhere else. And I'm here. I'm Team America. I just, sadly, we're on the tail end, I think, of that. And I think there is hope. But more people are going to just need to be aware that, like, it's not us versus the other person in front of us. We have to make it. And if we're going to make it, we have to make it together. We can't make it like everyone for themselves. It's just not how it's going to work. And the sooner we come to that realization, the sooner we can affect our political parties to get real action done, to see the real dangers and pitfalls in front of us. Because I just don't hear that kind of rhetoric in our politics. There is a a guy out there that I went to go see 2 days ago. He's running for Senate. He's actually from Bainbridge, Georgia. I spent a year and a half there building our apartments. His name is Latham Sadler. And dude, he talks about the decline of empires, 280 years, cohesion, like 3 things that he read Ray Dalio's stuff too. Like he's just like me, just like us. We think the same. I'm like, dude, there's actually people in politics that think like this, and it's like, I was like, dude, you totally have my vote. Like he was talking about the loss of cohesion we have. He said when he was serving he was a Navy SEAL. He said he was serving in somewhere in one of the stands, Pakistan, Tajikistan, somewhere like that. Or no, this was in Iran. He speaks fluent Farsi.
Still Iran.
Iran. Yeah, Iran. And he said that he had captured a Taliban and he was interrogating them in Farsi. And he said he just remembers. He said he'd never forget the look of this evil hatred in this man's face when they were interrogating him, just because he was wearing an American badge. And he said that he had nightmares about it. Like he just could not stop thinking about it. And when he came back to the United States in the last couple of years since COVID, he said the craziest thing was he almost forgot about that look, but he started seeing that same look on people's faces here domestically to each other. And that's how divided we are as a nation because of polarization from social media, whatever it is. I'm not here to debate that, but the fact that he saw that, he was just like, dude, this is going to get really bad. In China, they're weaponizing artificial intelligence. The government over there is incentivizing the youth of their nation, playing like in a gamified way. Oh, how can we make this video game to learn how to gamify artificial intelligence to make it a weapon, right? To weaponize artificial intelligence. That's what they're doing. And here we're talking about the genderbread man and the fucking transgender swimmer that we have a problem with. And who the fuck gives a fuck? Like, can we talk about something real? Can we talk about something that's really is going to affect the rest of our lives? Like 20 years from now, if we're in, let's say, a third world country state because we fucked up, like, and we're starving and we have some basic needs that are not being met, are we going to really give a fuck? Like, who was transgender, who had a cock or not? Like, who the fuck? You know what I mean? It's just like, it just fucking pisses me off to the point where it's like, that's why I lose faith. Not in the fact that, like, it's just like people care more about being right than just being like alive. I care more about being right than just being alive and well and being happy.
Or even being helpful. They're just saying things that they think are observations just for the sake of saying them.
Yeah.
Not because there's anything of helpful value of saying it. It's like, yeah, you're right, but fucking so.
Yeah. The last two are devaluing of currency and extended military conflict. Those are the 3 things that caused that the last 200 or so declining empires all had in common, those 3 things. Obviously, there was more factors, but these are the top 3 that just became repetitive. And if you look at the United States, we have all 3, really.
What were the 3?
Extended military conflict, devaluing of currency, and
internal conflict.
Unity, loss of cohesion, right? Typically when empires start declining, they need more money, so they raise taxes. Well, who do taxes affect? The poor people, because fuck, the rich people don't pay taxes. God dang, they can move their money. And when empires really need the money, the rich, they start getting they start getting like self-centered. They're like, I don't want to support the government with my money. Like they start becoming selfish. So the empire needs the money. They raise taxes on the peasants. Peasants' uprisings have caused the most decline in empires there have ever been. The rich are like 10%, 5%. The peasant class is like 90% of the population. Dude, you're going to get trampled by the poor people, essentially. They're going to come with their pitchforks. They're going to trample the shit out of you. They're going to knock down the walls. It's like Hunger Games. Again,
there's literally such a rising of eat the rich, fuck billionaires, all that shit.
It's exactly. And so we have all 3. We have extended military conflict. America's in everyone's business. Thank God we're not in Ukraine's business, even though it is an atrocity what's happening in Ukraine right now. But dude, if we close the skies, if we do all that stuff, dude, we're going to be in a World War III, dude. And Russia has shown their cards. They suck at war. They can't even fucking take Ukraine.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. I've been thinking about that. I'm like...
But you know what they have? 5,000 fucking nukes. In total, probably like
I don't think
50,000 kilotons of or 100,000 kilotons of nuclear detonation that they have there. They're a small bark with a fucking huge bite.
I don't think the nukes are going to come out that hard. I just don't see it as
it's
feasible.
kind of like what you said about the Monopoly going back in the box. It's like once you pull out the nukes, it's like, okay, game over. all of us game over. It's like we all have the ability to flip the whole table. It's fucked.
But it's not even that. It's like, also, let's just say you're trying to take a country. Like, why would you nuke it and ruin it? The air, the land.
Well, luckily Russia and China are friends, and China's like telling Russia, hopefully right now, dude, don't fucking kill our best customer here.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to sell this shit to ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like, thank God somebody's whispering in Putin's ear. Thank God it's China. Thank God. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
But what happens when it's us in China? You know, like what happens then? And you know, like, you know what's crazy? I did a deep dive into this. You know, our nuclear deterrent missile system is like fucking subpar. Like it's good, but we have like 1 out of like 10 or 15 nuclear deterrent like missiles to like 1 nuke out there between the nuclear states of North Korea, China, Russia, Pakistan, India. Like
you're saying the number wise. Like if they launched all of them, we'd only be able to kill like 1 out of 10.
Yeah, and we only need 1 to fucking destroy the whole state of like New York or Texas. You know, the largest.
Isn't that crazy?
The largest kiloton bomb that was detonated was in the 50s or 60s by the Russians, the old Soviet Union. It was called the Tsar bomb. It was like a 50 kiloton bomb done in like the 60s, dude. And that was like 10 times the size of the Hiroshima bomb. And that was in the fucking 60s. Now we have Trident missiles that can carry easily, like in submarines. So we have land-based nukes, we have submarine-based nukes, we have air-based nukes that are on airplanes. We have land, sea, and water nukes, basically. They're called ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles. And dude, those things, like now they have the hypersonic ones or whatever they call that. You can't even stop that shit by any nuclear deterrent system. We have no response for that. And it's like, America's been number one. I hope we're not number one for long, because you know what's the problem with being number one? You have a fucking target on your back.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares about number 2, right? It's hard to be number one. You're number one in marketing. Think about how hard it is to stay.
We're not number one in marketing.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? If you're number one,
you have a target on your back.
You know how hard it is to maintain number one? Getting number one is almost easier than maintaining number one, right?
Yeah.
Right? SEO wise, right? You can rank
in
number one in SEO.
In any sport in general, too.
Exactly. You can rank number one in SEO for like a month. You want to maintain that shit? All right. That's the challenge, right? Same thing. Like, it'll almost be good. Like, if we can peacefully decline to number 2 and no war, no conflict, no one has to die, and the Chinese yen becomes a reserve currency, all we have to do is learn how to do a balanced budget and like don't fuck that shit up. I think that'll be really cool.
That's like best case scenario right now.
But the United States is probably not going to give up without a fight, because we are the strongest military power, and we're not going to go down with fucking sending nukes. So sorry to be like gloom and gloom on that, but in order to prevent that, you know, we got to start taking care of from the beginning, right? We wouldn't be. I really feel like people would be less polarized if people were happy. All this pain that we're experiencing on this polarization is because deep down people are unhappy for other reasons, right? They're not making financial ends meet. They're not happy. They're not getting the fulfillment out of their lives. So they're becoming Karens and Kevins out here for no reason. They're just wanting to find a problem with anything. So if we can bring the happiness and joy of living, of being a responsible, happy, good human being back as a norm, that's the best way we have at protecting the world we live in today, right? Protecting our future kids. You're about to have a kid, my man. You know, like, that's how we protect that, is by like promoting more like positivity and saying like, hey, like, we're all human here. We all struggle, but you know, like, we all have a need to feel like we belong in a chief, in a tribe, you know, like we have a place here and that we all like matter. It's just, I don't have the answer to how to exactly get there, but I know that's just what we need. I need smarter people than me to help, you know, get to that point.
Well,
damn,
this is gloomy.
Damn, I didn't mean to.
No, it's not gloomy. I think it's more of just a wake up call of like, I think people are very comfortable and they're seeing things start to go a little bit downhill. And it's like, hey, if you don't think about how you're acting now, well, things are still possible to move around and do things and use money, and you know, you're able to still make a decent income.
So this is my personal last question. Recession, US. Is it happening? How soon? How close? Let me hear your bets on this.
I'm not smart enough to like answer that question in the kind of level
That's
of
not what
detail
I'm
that
asking.
you
I'm just
want.
no, I don't want detail, bro. I just want
Ballpark.
I want
Okay.
like what is George
In the
Yu
next
betting his
500,000
cards on?
years for sure.
Come on. Like, what are you betting your cards on? That's happening or that's not happening?
Well, I mean, obviously we're in a cycle, right? So a recession is bound to happen. If people think that the little crypto crash we had in the earlier years has been a recession, okay, that's not a recession, all right? When a recession happens and everybody's like, oh, I'm just going to buy more. Well, that's not fear. That's everyone being prepared. But I think it definitely will happen. I don't know how it will happen. I think the only way to prepare for that is just to be in long-term game plans and investing into long-term assets, decreasing your liabilities, having cash on hand to deploy when those things happen. I'm always thinking about in 2008, like the last recession that I did miss, all that opportunity that I did miss, like what I did wrong. And at that point, I actually did a lot of things right. I invested like 50 grand of my money as like a 18-year-old in 2008 that I had saved up all my life savings into like a inverse ETF, and it like tripled because I invested.
You told us this last time.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
And the stupidest thing I did was bought a car with it. The best thing I could have done was bought Google when it was like $50, Citibank when it was like 75 cents, Netflix when it was like $10, Apple when it was like nothing.
And when you say $10, that's before stock splits too.
Yeah.
So it's like people falsely look at stocks and they think, oh wow, $10 went to $50. It's like, no, actually, $10 bought you one share, and now those one shares are worth way more shares because of stock splits.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, just having to answer your question, is
crazy.
just having a long-term view, right? We can't prevent the recession, but as long as you keep a long-term view and you see past that, this is just a blimp, and you'll be happy because, or you're at, maybe not happy is the wrong phrase, but you'll see it as an opportunity, right? It's in the Chinese like language, like opportunity is like crisis, or opportunity is crisis and opportunity together, like the symbols, right? Whenever there's a problem, it presents a crisis and also presents an opportunity. So it's an opportunity to buy shit at a very low price and a good entry point. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. Be diversified. Have a good portfolio of real estate, mutual funds, stocks. Also, don't forget to invest into yourself. Right. Once you go to do your 40 hours a week on YouTube for a year and a half, like put some of that money, invest into yourself. Like I've always invested back into myself and the things that I'm curious about. But that comes from like knowing yourself a little bit better. And I'm still working actively, like trying to learn myself. So like I invest into my tiny houses. I invest into my real estate. I invest into my own, house places in Mexico and things like that. Like, and just, I invest into my own curiosity. So I would just say like save 10-20% of that working capital, invest it back into your own curiosity. Because that's really the only way this world is going to innovate our way out of the current state that we're in, is when everybody sort of takes responsibility for that. So I wouldn't say prevent or try to dodge the recession, but we're young. We're not 60, 70 years old, 80 years old, where the next recession, we might die during the recession, right? We still have an opportunity. Have some extra cash lying around, right? If you have some gains in crypto, take them gains. You know what I mean? I don't know, no crypto to be named here, but guard your bag, so just make sure you're ready for the dip, because it's
So
gonna
you're
come.
saying to hold like a Warren Buffett type of strategy, hold some cash?
Absolutely.
In a recession, cash is actually very valuable.
I mean, when
it
things are
actually
cheap,
increases the value of cash.
Yeah.
how are you going to get a loan?
Yeah.
When
No one will give it to you.
yeah, I mean, it's very tough to get a loan.
And all your assets are worth nothing.
Yeah, no one wants to buy at that time, right? You're like, oh, I have 10 houses. Like, I'm just going to sell one of my houses. Well, okay. Well,
The house is worth not much at that point.
it depends, but
Yeah.
definitely not a seller's market at that point.
Mhm.
Buyer's market, right? So always keep a little bit of cash on hand, ready to invest, or at least liquid, right? Crypto's
Mm-hmm.
pretty liquid, things like that. Like, be liquid. And yeah, just keep a positive mind, keep a solid group of people around you. And like this, right? People that can challenge your ideas can sharpen you. You can sharpen them, like vice versa. I think that's also a really important thing that people miss too. Like, it's really stuff that I work on too. Like, I'm actively trying to find more people that I can sharpen myself with. People that challenge me and I challenge them. Things like that. So it's awesome every time you guys invite me here to speak, and I get to hang out with you guys, talk to you guys, and see what kind of incredible work you guys are doing here. Because, dude, you guys have done amazing here. Like, this is huge. You guys have a new like print center, like Eddie showed me. Freaking huge office. Like, you guys are gonna become like a one-stop shop for all your marketing needs here. So
Appreciate that. Thanks, man. And we get to whoop some ass in basketball too. You know?
oh yes, let me know when. It's my game.
People don't know. People haven't seen the U shot.
The tree.
George can play, bro.
I'm okay.
Anyways, thank you for coming on, bro.
Thank you,
I
guys.
appreciate you sharing your perspective on the world with people. I think it's a perspective not many people get to see too many.
Yeah,
too
it's
often.
and just to close, like, it's not a pessimistic view. Like, I'm saying these things that hopefully like will give us an opportunity, because we have to face the facts, right? Like we don't get to wake up every day and be number one. Like, we have to wake up and strive and be number one. We've been number one for long. It just automatically assumes that we're going to be number one forever. But like, I just encourage, like, you know, people to just say, hey, like, look, maybe it's not the case. Right. And we need every single, like, it's just beyond me, beyond us. Like, we need everyone's help in this. And we definitely should not rely on our government. Definitely should not.
Definitely
Should not rely on our government or any government thereof. The power is in our people, in our middle class, in our working class. That's every golden age of any country has been in the middle class, when the middle class was the strongest. And so far, our middle class has been disappearing. So as long as we can bring that shit back, we Gucci.
you for president in 2028.
I love it.
Thanks so much, George. Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the 4Media Uncut podcast. If you want to work with us, learn with us, or even join the team and be a part of what we're doing at 4Media Marketing, just go to our website. It's 4media.marketing. No .com, no .net, .marketing, because that's all we do around here. And most importantly, share this with a friend wherever you're listening to or watching this on. Please hit that share button, send it over to a friend, someone else that you think will get value out of this. It would mean the world to us.
And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video and comment down below any suggestions for future guests. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate this 5 stars and leave us a review there. That helps us tremendously in the algorithm world. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of 4Media Uncut Podcast.